'cause I don't want to hurt you anymore. I think I've fallen harder than ever before, and if I can't have you, I can have myself to blame, 'cause I know I'll never be the same. If only I could hold you for one more night, just know that I would. For those few seconds, it feels like you are mine.
It was about a half an inch away from penetrating my skull, they said, and like going through it. And, you know, so it could have been very bad.
Do you recall if you ever tried to hide it? Like, was there any shame about it, or would you like not invite friends over, but you wanted to because of anything like that?
Oh, yeah. So,
Wow, yeah. Man, you're asking the question.
yes, I was definitely a little like, you know, embarrassed and ashamed of like, you know, how we grew up. And the one child my parents had that was, you know, dealt a very serious hand of autism is the only one with a diploma. And I loved standing out in the fucking winter of upstate New York, smoking a cigarette, drinking my coffee, and just listening to these fucking songs, and being at school and just being like, I don't give a fuck what the guy that's saying up there. I don't give a shit. I'm putting on my headphones. Like, I just never cared about anything except music. It's the only thing I ever cared about. And school was never an option. Ever. I couldn't be there for more than 5 minutes without feeling like I absolutely hated my life. I couldn't be around anything. I just told myself I have learned everything I will ever need to know about anything. It's traumatic for me, you know? I was just like, holy fuck, dude. Like, I'm calling like the police and they're getting this guy fired, and it's my girlfriend who's like a victim of this fucking guy. You know what I'm saying? The fact that those are the two songs that resonate with people the absolute most means the fucking world to me, because I was so going through it, man. Like, I missed that person so much for all the wrong reasons.
Is it true that your grandmother burned to death?
My great-grandmother did burn to death in her own home. That is true.
I want people to be absolutely uncomfortable. I want to make people leave the theater if they're so scared. I don't think the horror that I'm trying to create is entertainment. I think the horror I'm trying to create is actual visceral. I can't stop doing this because I'm not good at anything else. I've never been good at anything else.
Hey everyone, thank you for joining me this Saturday for this last episode of David's Saturday Night Sit Back. Before our 1 year anniversary, it is the last episode of year one since this podcast has gone live, and I really wanted to end year one with a banger. So I was grateful and fortunate to have Tyler Hayes and Austin Kranicks, the lead drummer and singer respectively of the band The Broken View. They were able to stop by the studio while touring their new album, Ordinary Love, which you can check out on YouTube and Spotify today. This journey is one of Austin growing up poor to being stabbed in the head to dropping out of high school to taking the stage. It really is quite a banger. And so I wanted to take a moment just to tell you how happy I am that you are all here to watch or listen to this episode. If you have not subscribed to the DSNSB YouTube channel yet, please do so that over the course of the next year, we can continue to bring these stories to as many people as possible. One thing that I would like to note before we dive into this episode is that this podcast is so special to me because the bulk of our guests have never been on a podcast before. Some have, some even have their own podcasts, but if I had to venture, I would say about 80 to 90% of our guests have never told their story, have never made a public appearance, which makes all of these episodes so very special. So if this is your first one, welcome to the DSNSB network. And if you've been with us a while, thank you for taking this journey with me. All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of David Saturday Night Sit Back. Tonight, sitting back with me, I got Austin Kranicks, who is the lead singer for The Broken View, and Tyler Hayes, who is the drummer for the same New York-based alternative rock band. They started this band in 2019, playing open mic shows in upstate New York, and now with over 113,000 subscribers on YouTube, The Broken View is currently touring their new album, Ordinary Love. Today, Tyler has joined me as my co-host to deep dive into Austin's story, but don't fret, Tyler has already agreed to coming back on the show later this year so we can deep dive into his musical journey as well. In terms of Austin, along with being a singer and songwriter, he's dabbling in filmmaking, and you should definitely check out some of the music videos on TVV's YouTube channel, which I'll have linked in the show notes. One thing I love about Austin is you stated in one of your podcasts that you want to be doing something with your life that connects with people who have been through traumatic things and hurtful situations, but ultimately became better people and grew through it. Austin is also a son, a brother, a boyfriend. He loves horror movies, and him and I share a mutual fear of spiders. Can't wait to deep dive into this man's life today. Austin, Tyler, welcome to your guys' first episode on David Saturday Night Sit Back.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Take two and we hit record this time.
Yes.
But the audience didn't
The
miss.
curtain comes down.
The curtain comes down. I do have one more gift for you.
No way.
One more.
And this one's the serious one. And before you start opening it, let me pull. So yours is running late. I ordered these, and yours came like the next day. And then yours, they were like, we'll get this here in like 7 weeks. I was like, sick. Cool.
Wait
So
a second.
I'll have a picture of it for you.
I
So you can
appreciate it.
sort of join us in this moment.
Okay.
But before you dive in, what do you think it is?
Oh, is this something Zack Snyder's Justice League related?
No.
Is it
Oh,
a horror film related?
No.
Oh. Is it a Funko Pop?
Can you shake it?
Is it a Funko Pop?
Maybe.
Okay.
Oh, wow. It's got a little.
Can I open it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, totally.
Wait a minute. Is this a Funko Pop of me?
Possibly.
No way.
You said you've been wanting one.
I did when we had Matt from Blue
Yes.
on.
That's
Matt
what
has
yours
Hey,
his.
looks
oh my!
like.
No,
No
way!
shit.
Look at me!
Holy fuck. Dude.
There you are.
I got the mic and the guitar and
No
everything.
way!
Dude. Thank you.
So
dude.
is this
Thank
is
you.
this your first one? You're welcome.
This is
There
my
you go.
first Funko. It's the first action figure of me I've ever seen. So
I think you guys brought it up in your first episode of your podcast, and
Yeah.
so when I was like, I really want to be the first person to the finish line with this one. Let's see if I can pull this off.
Yes. Well, thank you so much.
So I'll get
Thanks,
yours. I'm
dude.
hoping it might come in this week. So if it does, I'll drop it off at our mutual friend's house.
Yes,
And if it doesn't,
appreciate
I'll mail it to you.
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
man.
of course,
Yes,
man.
thank you.
it
Thank
says
you.
Austin Kranicks. That's so funny.
I need to see this again. Oh my gosh, dude.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
You like it though?
I love it.
Oh, you're even wearing the hat.
It's
there.
go. It's go. Oh, I have the hat
You're
on.
wearing a hat.
No shit.
He's always got that hat on. That's awesome.
Oh my god, I am. Dude, this is going in the podcast room.
Yes.
Sweet.
Beautiful.
Which is in your basement, right?
It is in
Yes.
my basement. Yeah.
Is that how much of the basement are we seeing in that thing?
A wall.
Yeah.
Like,
Just like a
is it
corner.
basically like is it as big
It's-
as this?
yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
the same situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever guests come in, a lot of the times they'll be like, "Oh, it's so small." Like, thanks.
Thanks. It's kind of a backhanded
Thanks a lot.
Right. And then they'll try to backpedal and be like, "You really did a good job with this."
No, you should just
Considering how small it is.
Yeah.
you should Michael Scott rebuttal them and just be like, "That's what she said."
That's right. Yes.
It's so small. That's what she said.
Love it.
Are you
Well-
a fan of The Office?
Nope.
Oh
Nope.
man,
Nope. Sorry.
that's okay.
I watched a couple episodes of season 1, and friends told me like, "Oh, you just have to power through 3 seasons, and then it gets good." I'm like, "Well, I don't
I don't
want
want to do that.
Dude, I've heard people say that, and I don't agree. I mean, I think season 1 right off the bat is great, but I will admit, when I first started watching the show, season 1 had me like, okay, and then when I rewatched season 1, I'm like, I don't know why I ever thought this was just okay because it's
Yeah.
fantastic. But yeah, I would agree that maybe the first watch, it starts to really like hone in the comedy and the timing and everything by season 3. So, but yeah, you're right. You shouldn't have to watch 3 seasons of a show before it gets good. But
I thought. See, did you guys watch Game of Thrones?
Yes.
He did.
Yeah.
The first time I watched it, I thought season 1 was really slow.
Yeah.
And then when I rewatched it a couple years later, I was like, season 1 is the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
The first couple episodes for me, I was like, I don't know if I can get into this, but once it started to pick up,
Yeah, like
I was
this-
hooked.
This
And then-
dude's having sex with his sister. And
I was like,
pushing
oh.
kids off buildings and what are
Holy
we
shit.
doing?
That's what I'm missing out on?
Yeah.
Yep.
Incest and child murder.
Yep.
I guess
There you
I'll
go.
have to check it out.
Yep.
Well, a funny thing with the incest concept is my sister watched the pilot and then she didn't want to keep watching it specifically because of that scene.
Yeah.
So fast forward like 6 years later, and I think it was season 6 was on, and one of the episodes was landing on my birthday, and my mom wanted to have the whole family over, and I was like, well, only if we can all watch Game of Thrones together. And so we all get dinner and sit down to watch it, and I didn't know what was going to happen because we were watching it for the first time.
Yeah.
And of course, there is a Jaime Cersei sex scene, and my sister was just like, is this still going on 6 years later? Like, why isn't this stopped yet? And there's not that many scenes that they
Yeah.
do that. So the fact that she got that
Yeah.
episode was perfect.
Yeah.
My our guitar player Joe would probably, kick me in the nuts for saying this, but I would argue that the show is probably so popular because of all the sex. Probably part of it. Because think about it, every really popular show's got a lot of sex. Grey's Anatomy, Game of Thrones, Vampire Diaries. All the most popular shows are just tons of sex scenes. So I don't know.
There is a lot of
I
nudity.
think people
in Game
just
of
like-
Thrones,
yeah, that's
but
what I'm saying.
It was a very popular.
It sells, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did watch, I wanted to watch a movie that was one of your favorites. I forget if you commented much on it, but I watched the original version of Goodnight Mommy about 2 weeks ago.
Yes. Did you like it?
I loved it,
It was so good, right?
but I have questions. Is it old enough you think we could talk about it for a few minutes? And
What is it, 2015?
Yeah, it's been 9 years.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
we could say, we can give a little spoiler warning.
Yeah, spoiler warning. Hit the next timestamp if you don't want to hear about this.
Absolutely, yeah. But what are your questions?
So remember the one scene where she heads out into the forest, just halfway-ish through the movie, and she does that weird...
Yes.
So I wasn't sure, is she an alien? Is she human? Because that was sort of the only scene where I thought there's something sort of paranormal going on with this lady. The rest of the movie, I'm assuming it's not the mom, but I also thought she was human up until that scene, and then I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
So, I mean, I can't tell you exactly what it is because I don't know for sure because, obviously I didn't come up with it. But my theory would be that she is actually the mom. She is actually the mom. And that was a dream the kid had about her. That's what I would think.
That's a good
That's
theory.
like a dream because she has to be the mom because she's an actor. That's why she got all the facial surgery. And she did not have the birthmark because of the surgery. Because that's a very common thing that they would remove one of those things if that part of your face needed to have skin grafting, which she said it did. So you know what I'm saying? And she would wear contacts as well because, like I said, I mean, she's an actor. I mean, the movie could be dissected more. I would say that she is their mother. Well, the kid's dead, obviously.
Which I had no idea.
Lucas is dead.
I caught that, but not until 5 minutes before the ending.
She never actually talks to Lucas in the movie because he's not really there. So he is a figment of the brother's imagination because of what happened in the accident. So that's why her face is messed up, and that's why she had to get facial surgery. So the kid has not come to terms with the fact that the child is gone because they're twins and they're very connected. But I would say that, yeah, no, that's their mother. And the kid just went nuts, and he's having creepy dreams about her being like a monster or like an imposter or something. And she had to get surgery because of her job. That's what I would say. I would take it in the most literal form. That's how I would take the movie. But maybe I'm wrong.
I like that theory, though. I'll probably rewatch it next year
It's very good.
because it too much happened.
I got to watch it again, too.
Yeah. So then I went and watched the trailer for the 2019 version. Even though you're against trailers, I was like, I don't want to watch the movie, I don't think, but I want to get a snippet of it. And I'm watching the trailer, I'm like, this looks stupid.
It is definitely super American version of whatever they put out in 2015. I have not watched it, but just based on the trailer, I was not impressed.
Yeah.
So But I don't know. I have to watch that, I guess, because I can't give a real opinion on it. But I would imagine it's not as good because most people, like, I went to a Reddit post and all that stuff, and they were all like, "Yeah, don't waste your time with the American version. Like, just watch the original."
I don't even remember what happened in the trailer. I just remember I thought that looks corny. That looks corny.
Yeah, like
that
there
looks
was like a
corny."
scene where her skin's coming off, and she's like, I don't know, has like some monstrous skin under her skin. I don't know. Whatever.
Whatever.
It seemes different, so I don't know. But I don't know. Maybe I'll check it out one day and see, compare them,
Maybe
make
I
my
will
own
too.
opinion on it.
We'll see. I have one more question, one more hot take for you guys before we jump into to the journey that is Austin Kranicks.
It's quite the journey.
Long and dark.
Well, we got more than 2 beers
Yeah.
and all night. So
Well, yeah. It's gonna be fun.
So my hot take is that the first time I watched Breaking the Habit, I really liked the jump.
You've done your homework, buddy. You must have watched.
I loved it when you guys did the. I'm not just saying that because your other friend didn't like it.
Yeah.
The first time I watched it, I was like, that was sick.
Yeah, you think? No,
My mom liked it too. She always like, I like the jump.
I think at this point, you know,
It's
you
in
could
the
probably
moment.
just accept that the jump's not for everybody, but it's there. It's immortalized forever.
It's
so
in there. Yeah.
if you don't like the jump, we did the jump.
You did the jump.
There's no going back.
I think
now.
you should do more jumps.
You know what? Fuck it. We'll do another superhero.
We do jumps on
It'll be-
stage. You know.
Oh, Joe does
Well,
the jumps.
I don't.
We should change his
well,
name
Tom's been doing
to
it too.
Jump. Yeah. Instead of Joe, just name him Jump.
Jump.
I'm gonna move this out of
Jumpy
my
Joe.
pocket so it doesn't clickety clack around.
Clickety clack. Yeah. By the way, you guys did really good last night. I
Thank
had
you.
so much fucking fun.
Good,
That was a
good.
good show.
Thank
you
you.
guys
Thank you.
crushed it. The
Thank
new
you.
album was good. All of it was. And I've never. So to give the audience some background, Tom Barwick, who was on the podcast last summer, joined the Broken View as their bass player. And in full transparency, I went to listen to your guys' stuff, mostly just as a favor to him, to be like, I did this because I love you and I know who they are now.
Yeah.
And then I listened to it again and again and again, and I fell in love with the music.
Wow, that's
and then
nice.
you guys started the podcast. I was like, this is sick too, because I don't think a lot of bands also do podcasts. And so I listened to all of those, most of which while I was puzzling. It was like my new tradition on Saturday mornings was to walk the dog, and then we'd come back. He would sleep. I'd puzzle. I'd turn on your podcast. I'd pour another cup of coffee. That's how I kicked off my Saturday.
That's
and
awesome.
then to show up at the performance, like feeling like I know you guys in a way because I've just heard so much through your own show, plus what Thomas told me. It was just a very unique experience that was really special and really exciting to go to.
Oh, thank you so
man.
much. Yes.
That's a very good compliment. Thank
yeah,
you.
Yeah. We the podcast thing was kind of just off the whim. We were like, well, we have like this platform on YouTube, and we always like sit around a table and just talk about ideas and movies, and we're like, why don't we just record this and put it out there for our fans?
Just let
And
them
so that's kind of how
listen
that
to us
started.
ramble about Justice League for 2 hours.
You never do that.
Never.
What a good idea this is. We only did the podcast so we could talk about Justice League.
I almost
And
put that
rationalize
in
it.
your thing. I was like, we could definitely talk about Zack Snyder.
Yeah,
Justice
yeah.
League.
You know what? Why not?
Well, I figured we might save that to the end because Tom, I don't know if you want the public to know this, but I'm about to throw it out there. He was like, yeah, if you get Austin buzzed enough, that's definitely what he'll default to for his
Yes.
conversation.
That's really
Yes.
funny that Tom would say that.
Yep.
By the way, guys, you can buy Tom's record right here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tom Barwick. Did you talk about it all last night? After the show?
Justice League.
After the show?
I don't really remember. I'm gonna be honest. We went to this bar and we got some really good chicken and some really good mac and cheese with bacon on it, and it was fucking delicious. And is swearing okay?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. But yeah, so we got this chicken and mac and cheese, and then I was pretty drunk, so I have no idea. I have no idea what the hell happened. I just woke up in Tom's bed and I was like, my phone's dead.
I don't like that feeling.
I know.
Waking
It's
up
like,
hungover is one thing, but when I wake up and I can't find my phone, and when I do, it's dead.
Dead.
And
Yeah.
I get this immediate like,
You're like,
oh, what I do on this thing?
yeah. No, you know what it is? It's just like, I don't know. I think I was so drunk last night because I did not like eat before. Like I had a little bit. I had like 2 tacos.
Yeah.
So, but that was just not enough food. It was not enough food. So when I did end up drinking, I was just like immediately hit with it. So
Yeah.
plus those where were we? What's the town called? Where were we?
Oh, Dallas.
Deep Ellum.
Deep Ellum.
Deep
yes.
Ellum. Deep Ellum IPA. That shit goes hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good beer.
All right.
That's a good beer.
Cool.
So that's what I was taking. You
I
know,
like IPAs.
You were looking
Yeah.
for an IPA for like
Dude,
days.
oh my
No one had
God.
one.
I don't know why I love IPAs. So many places they'd be like, oh, "Yeah, we can get that for you," and then they come back to the table. Oh, we're out. And I'm like, "No."
Happened like 3 times.
Yeah, it did happen like 3 times. I was like, "Come on, man."
Yeah.
If
But-
you want to hire me to go on tour with you guys and just keep a case of Dogfish 60-minute IPAs on
dude.
hand,
It's one of my
All
favorite
time.
I'll
beers.
give you a good rate.
It's one of my favorite beers. No,
Good to know.
but no, last night was fun. I didn't talk too much about Zack Snyder's Justice League. But seriously,
good.
you guys should check out Picturesque by Tom. He's our bass player, and he has his own solo project going. He's very talented.
Good
Just a
dude,
quick
too.
little plug for Tommy. He's a very talented guy.
We love
so-
Tom.
And he's handsome.
Yes.
He is handsome.
Yeah.
Look at that beard.
Is that a character of Tom?
It is.
awesome.
Caricature. Nice.
I love
Emma
it.
threw him a birthday party, and one of the I don't know what you'd call it. She had like 4 or 5 different like things to do there.
Yeah.
And one of them was she had a character. I can't say that word.
Character.
She had an artist come
Caricature.
out to draw those.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. They have one at their apartment too,
Yeah.
of him and Emma.
Is
That's
that a
awesome.
picture of him in the shower?
He's just going.
Look at his
He's a clown, dude.
He's a clown.
we love him.
I love the hanging out with that guy.
Yeah,
He's
Tom's
great.
awesome, man.
We've caught on very quickly how much of a clown Tom is.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh, him and I are like villains.
It's
We're like
good time.
villains in like a comic book or something. I feel like we're just always going around trying to cause damage.
Oh my gosh.
We're just like, how many people can we make laugh in this 10-second span? And he's just like, got it. He's so fast. I mean, we've all just been marveled at because like,
Oh, yeah.
he's so quick with comedy. He's just like immediately has a perfect rebuttal to anything. And you're like, what?
He does.
How do
Yeah.
you do that?
Yep.
Like, it's so good.
Yeah.
I mean, dude,
If
just
right-
go into comedy.
I was gonna say if music doesn't work out, which I think it will for him, but
Yeah.
if it doesn't, he has a fallback.
Yeah. Yep.
He's funny as hell.
Go
Yeah.
over to the mothership and get up on there.
There you go.
I just go over to his place sometime and just listen. When
Yeah.
I need to get happier, and then I'll
Yep.
leave after like 40 minutes. Oh, all right, thanks, I'm happy again.
Man. He's a good dude.
He's a good dude, man.
Yeah.
Can I put you on the spot?
Go right ahead.
There is one song you guys didn't do last night that I was really hoping for.
Uh-oh. What is it?
How do you do with singing when you were not expecting to?
He always sings.
Could you give us just the chorus,
Of what?
The Fall?
Oh,
You want the loud version?
I want the you have no instruments and you weren't expecting this request version.
All right.
Back it up.
Got reverb on that thing? So it's like, cannot just look you in your eyes and tell a lie. After all, there's nothing left to hide. Fear can only measure how hard you break. It's a give and take, so make up your mind. 'Cause I don't want to hurt you anymore. I think I've fallen harder than ever before. And if I can't have you, I can have myself to blame. 'Cause I know I'll never be the same. If only I could hold you for one more night. Just know that I would. For those few seconds, it feels like you are mine.
Holy cow!
There you go.
There
You
it
got
is.
such a good voice, brother.
Thank
There it
you.
is.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
You're in a band with this dude.
Yeah.
You're in a band with that dude.
I know, he can drum his ass
You're
off.
both in a band with that dude.
And 2 other dudes.
Wait, remind me their names. Joe and John?
Joe and John.
Joe and John.
The Jays.
John's the one Stage left.
Okay.
Which would be audience right. And he plays the lead stuff, a lot of it. Joe plays some lead stuff too. But Johnny handles the lead stuff more, atmospheric stuff going on most of the time. Yeah. But yeah, they're very good, dude. Like, we're just very happy to be on tour with very competent musicians, Yeah. Like, everybody in the band really holds their own. Like, Joe has his own style, man. And I'm like, I don't know, being a guitar player, I'm just a little jealous because they're, like, really good. I can hold my own with a guitar, but, like, they're really good. I mean, I can riff all day, but, like, doing, like, some finger picking and, like, the stuff Johnny does with scales, I'm just like, what? But, like, they're very good. They're very good.
That's how I feel about singing. Like, you just did what you did, and when you leave tonight, I'm going to rewatch that and then imitate it in the mirror in the bathroom and be like, that was fucking ugly. I'm never doing that. I just disrespected that song so hard.
No.
But no, the fall is, I mean, there's a lot of great songs, but I think naturally as humans, we always have favorites. And the Mend and the Fall are just like the chef's kiss, in my opinion.
On the Mend. Oof.
Yeah. On the Mend was fun last night.
That's a chorus. That's hard. It's hard.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. That one always worries me. That's the only song of the night where I go, let's see how this goes. like that's the only song of the night. I'm always just like, on the Mend's coming. Uh-oh. I got to stop doing that to myself because I'm probably making it worse by doing that.
It was the most fun I had all night was watching you guys do that.
Thanks, man.
And you seemed like you were in your element and just doing what you're meant to be doing, and it was really fun.
Thanks,
so,
appreciate it.
Thanks, dude.
Well, let's jump into you a little bit. And I do have, a couple questions, but please feel free to jump in and ask all your, because you know this guy more than I am, so you might be able to fill in some few blanks and whatnot.
For sure.
One question I wanted to ask you before you get too deep into it is tell the audience why they should stick around for this.
For the podcast?
Yeah, to hear about your story.
That's a good question. I apologize if I'm not as quick as you on this stuff. Well, A, you're a pleasure to listen to. You're very good at talking.
Thank you.
So, I mean, stick around for, to hear this handsome man's voice. But other than that, on the topic of the band, if, a reason to stick around, maybe you'll learn something that you didn't know. And perhaps I'll say something that will intrigue you enough to, I don't know, be like, do what I do and just be like, hey, you know this fun fact about this person? Because I do that all the time. I'll be like, I learned something about Peter Gabriel. Let me tell you about it. So I don't know. Maybe if you learn something new about me or Tyler, maybe it'll be useful later in life.
Well, I think like
I don't know.
perspective is a big thing that we can all gain from one another, and I love hearing other people's perspective on.
Yeah, I think that's what I was trying to say.
but yeah, I mean, even in our music, Austin's lyrics and stuff shares a lot of perspective and insight on certain topics. And
I was gonna say I might do another acapella later. There you go.
Oh, there.
Oh,
Okay.
I'd stick around for that.
See, I'm not quick, but I come to a decision at some point that makes sense. So maybe I'll sing another acapella. That'd be a good reason, other than what Tyler said. But yeah.
Could I give a third perspective?
Sure.
Have you ever heard that phrase that most men die at 25 but aren't buried until they're 75?
Holy shit. No. But
Do you know what it means?
Intense.
Or what would you guess based off what it means?
Lose your
yeah.
you I guess after 25 you lose your ambition.
So when you think about it, we have this like 8th grade milestone in U.S. culture, and then you have your high school, senior year graduation is like a next milestone, and then you have graduating college as a milestone, and then getting married, and then after that, like maybe buying a house is one. But I know that since I've started doing this podcast, a few people have told me that they felt like the guests that have come on the show have shaken them to chase after that thing they never wanted to do, to write their first song, to start that book, to write a poem. And so without giving away anything, because I want to go through it sort of chronologically, I feel like I know enough about you that what the three of us could accomplish tonight is that by the end of this episode, we could do exactly that. And maybe it won't be someone in their 25s or 30s or 35s. One thing that I really like about the show that I wasn't expecting is that we have a lot of teenage listeners.
No way.
We can get them while they're young.
Oh, that's true.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
before they hit that 25 and go, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get
no, that was a good answer. I wish I answered that way. Shit.
I'll just cut out your guys' answer. No, I'm kidding.
Just like do your best, like, you know, like one of those like Japanese like kung fu movies where it's like your voice over mine completely not matched up.
Well, with AI,
It's
we
just
probably
like
could.
overdub.
We
Oh,
probably
that's
could
true.
match it up.
That's
you go.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like I said it. No, I would never take credit. No, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I hope we can. I think you are right.
We will. We are.
We will do that.
Yeah. Who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah.
Austin Kranick.
Who is that?
Austin Matthew Kranick. That's me. I am. I'm an artist. I've always been an artist. I'm a son. A dork. I'm a little bit of a dork. Or who am I? Shit, man. I don't know. I'm just a person who loves art. I love movies. I know that's not who I am, but I am a guy who likes movies and music a lot. I love the art of poetry and the healing process of lyricism and getting things out. And I am just a human. I'm a human man with things I like to do. I don't know.
What's one of you grew up poor, didn't you?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
What's one of your earliest memories growing up? How far back can you go?
Oh boy. How far back? That's a question. How far can I go? Let's see. I'm not stalling. I'm just trying to think. You asked some good questions. I can go way back. I can go back to when I saw Purple Rain when I was like 5. And I remember watching it on VHS with my dad in the living room at my grandfather's hand-built lake house that we were living at in Saratoga Springs, New York. I was sitting on the carpet, and I remember I was like 5 years old, and I remember like watching, which a 5-year, I'm sure he made me turn away at the scene with Apollonia. I'm sure that was not something I saw till later, but I remember watching that, and the performance for The Beautiful Ones, where he's like on the ground, like he's like proclaiming his love for this woman, and he's just laying there and screaming these words like, do you want him or do you want me? And he's like screaming and like, I gotta know. And he's like just like so much passion in the performance and the art and all that stuff. And he played guitar and piano and stuff. And I just remember watching Prince. That's like the oldest thing. Just being like, that's what I want to do. I've always wanted to be a performer since like I was 5. That's like as far back as I could go.
That's
So,
pretty good. 5 is good. That's young.
yeah, it must have been 5-ish, maybe 6. But also around that same time, not a great memory, but I was playing. This one's kind of funny, but also not. I was playing around with my brother Nicholas. He's older than me by like 17 months or so. And we're playing around in the living room while my dad's asleep. My mom was at work. She had to pull like an early shift, and we're watching Batman, the animated series. That was something my dad always taped because it played at 9 o'clock because it was like big boy cartoon. So he would record it, and then we'd get up and pop the VHS in and watch Batman, the animated series. And on this particular day, it was an episode with the Joker, and he has like this robot named Captain Clown, and he shoves Batman into a container and then like seals it, and then he stabs holes into the container before throwing Batman into the river. And my brother and I were like, let's do that. So we, for some reason, thought it was a good idea to go grab one of the Dockstar boxes, which is one of the boxes of the place that my dad was working at the time. Dockstar was like this, I don't know, it's like the equivalent to like Dunder Mifflin, I think. So it's like nothing. But like, they're not even a company anymore, I don't think. But he was working there, and they had like moving boxes because we, newly moved into this place. So we got like the biggest box ever. And my brother was like, all right, you're going to go in the box. I'm going to go get a steak knife from the kitchen, and I'm going to stab holes in the box. And like Batman, you're going to move out of the way as the knife comes in.
Yes.
And it did not work. And it went right into my head.
In your head?
Yes.
That explains so much.
Not like
You still have the
in
scar.
the middle of my head or anything. It's I can show it to you. So I have a scar on the side of my head about
Oh, your hair is covered.
Oh, is it this?
Yep.
Wow.
that's the one.
There it
The
is.
camera can see it.
How deep did it go?
So it was about a half an inch away from penetrating my skull, they said, and like going through it. And, so it could have been very bad.
What'd your parents say about all this?
They were not happy. And my mom was very upset with my dad because my dad was asleep.
Dad's got to sleep.
I know dads have to sleep, but when there's dumb boys who like Batman out in the kitchen, out in the living room watching it and trying to reenact it, I guess maybe you shouldn't. But either way, it doesn't matter. Like no one's really at fault here, I guess. But yeah, so I had to get 7 staples in my head.
Ouch.
It was horrible.
How old were you? 6?
I was
5?
6 years
6?
old, I think.
That would
Yeah.
be traumatizing. Can you imagine
It was.
having to go to the hospital because you got stabbed in the head, and then having the doctor tell you need 6 staples?
It was brutal, man. I used I had like this Pokemon blanket, and as the blood started pouring out of my skull, my brother was like, "I'm gonna get Dad here," and like handed me this Pokemon blanket. So I'm bleeding all over this Pokemon blanket, and my dad comes out to this carnage.
Jeez.
And then my uncle Stan lived above us at the time, and he comes down and he's like, "What the fuck's happening?" And after all was said and done, my uncle Stan was laughing his ass off.
course he was.
After I was okay, it was funny because he was like, "I can't believe they reenacted that scene from the fucking cartoon." And I don't think I was the one to break the news as to what happened and why, but I can only imagine how funny it must have been for my brother, who was 7 at the time, to go, "We were watching Batman, and Batman like could dodge the knife, but he couldn't." So you know what I'm saying? Like, how the fuck did that go? But yeah, I could have died.
I'm glad you didn't.
I am too. It could have went right through my skull and murdered me. So luckily, I am not unalived. I am okay from that.
I don't even know how to segue from that, so I'm just gonna go for it. But so
Go
you
right
got
ahead.
Nick, who is 17 months older?
Yeah.
And then you?
Yep.
Is Chris next?
Christopher is my younger brother. Yeah.
Is there any other siblings
no,
or just the three?
it's just Christopher. And
How
Nick.
much younger is Chris?
Christopher's 25 now, and I'm 27. So he's well, he's 24. He's gonna be 25 this year, if I'm correct on that. I don't know, but 24 or 25, and he lives at his school program because he has autism.
Yeah.
But yeah,
They popped you guys out real quick.
they certainly did.
Just pow, pow, pow.
They were like, "Let's have some kids," and then they had 3. So
What was did you guys grow up religious at all? Or did that really have a place in your home much?
My, like I said, my Uncle Stan, who lived above us at the time, his kids went to like Catholic school or whatever, but I didn't.
There you go.
My parents never made us go to like church or anything.
What was, do you remember having any kind of, like perception of money or lack of or anything like that? Or did your parents sort of shield you guys from that? And
Oh, no, it was very obvious.
in what ways?
Well, I mean, I don't fault my parents at all. It was a tough time and things were crazy. They had 3 kids or whatever. I love my parents very much. And now they're doing okay now. My dad has some things that, like health-wise that he's dealing with, but, like the financial thing and, is better for them at least now. But when we were growing up, it wasn't so good. We never really had anything. Like, there was like summers where we didn't have heat and summers where we didn't have AC and like winters where we didn't have heat. Food was like, like ramen noodles and shit a lot of the time, and like it wasn't like the greatest peanut butter sandwiches and stuff like that. But my cousins weren't like the wealthiest either, so we all kind of bonded over that. I'm very close with my cousins because there was a lot of money struggles in my family. Probably because we're all terrible with money. So, I have that trait too. I'm fucking terrible with money. Like, if I want something and I'm like poor at the time, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get the thing. I don't know. I'm just this stupid trait that my family seems to have. But like, it is what it is. Like it doesn't like bother me anything. Growing up, like that, I think helped appreciate things in a way that I might not have for obvious reasons. When you don't have a lot, you appreciate the things you do later. And I think, growing up like that was, it was tough. Houses weren't always the cleanest either. Like there was a lot of things, man. Like, there was a lot of stuff that, looking back, it's like, holy shit, like that's seriously like how I grew up. That's wild, But I mean, I think it was just a lot of like, because my parents ended up getting divorced. So, I feel like that was a big reason because the money troubles. I think the money troubles was a huge factor because I think they just got married too young. Had too many kids too quickly and maybe just weren't like ready for the kind of responsibilities that entails or whatever. But yeah, do you have any other questions?
Nope, we're done. That was it. Do you recall if you ever tried to hide it? Like, was there any shame about it, or would you like not invite friends over, but you wanted to because of anything like that?
Oh yeah. So wow, yeah, man, you're asking the questions. I like all of them, by the way. I'm not like offended, or like afraid to answer them. So you're good. In case you were worried about that. Yes. I was definitely a little like, embarrassed and ashamed of like, how we grew up. And there was definitely a lot of moments where my friends would be like, oh, what are you doing? And they'd come over to my house and I'd be like, oh, yeah, let's stay out here. Let's go to your house,
Yeah.
Let's go to your house. And they're like, okay. Like, what has he got? Like bodies in there? Like... I don't know what they thought. I was a child, so but yeah. I remember the first friend I ever like had over at my home was my friend Ryan. And my parents were always just like, no one's allowed over, ever. And I always wanted people over because I was, you know, when you're a kid, you're like, oh man, I want my friends to come over. I want to show them my fucking toys.
Yeah.
I want to show them my toys. I could never do that. So it's fine. Like, if my mom and dad watch this, I don't want them to be like depressed because I'm saying these things. Like, it's fine, mom and dad. I don't give a shit. Like, I had fun at my friend's house. It's all good. But yeah, there was definitely a lot of that. Like, no friends allowed. You know, the house is like not nice enough or whatever. But then, you know, I met like some really close friends who were like the exception, where like we would be like, okay, just so you know, the house is a little fucked up. Yeah. And then they'd come in. So, you know, whatever. And then, you know, I'd be like, sorry about this, man. I know this sucks. And they'd be like, that's fine. Because a lot of my friends were wealthy, you know. Their parents were, anyway.
Where was this, by the way?
A lot of places. So, kind of lived that way a lot, in multiple locations. So, like, I don't remember this place, but the oldest house that I was born and living in was in a place called Summit in New York. And then, the oldest memory of, you know, where I remember living was the lake house where I got stabbed in the skull. And then, yippee. But then, you know, where I met my friends when I was like around the age to like, you know, want friends over and stuff was in, Rotterdam.
Excuse me.
Rotterdam, New York. I lived in a house over there, and I had a friend who lived across the street named Christine and all that stuff, and you know, same deal, like no friends over, like go over there. So, and she had a pool too, which was cool.
Woo!
So,
That
so
would probably help in the summer when you don't have AC.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Plus, when I was younger, I thought she was really cute, so I was like, I'm gonna talk to the girl across the street. You know what I'm saying?
You ever hit on her?
I think me and my brother both did, for sure. He's still friends with her, I think, but you know.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
If they are.
I think they still talk.
I don't talk to any of my childhood friends.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Not because I don't like them or
maybe they
anything.
keep in
We just
yeah. It was definitely like the girl next door situation where you're like, everybody's like, oh my God, the pretty girl next door, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, that was a good distraction, you know, for a while. But then we moved again. And then that's when I met my best friend, Ryan. And now, you know, my best friend Nico, who I still talk to from time to time in Savannah. In Scotia, New York, which is not far from, you know, the Rotterdam place. But yeah, we were there and same deal, you know, like no friends over, yada yada. But then, you know, I came really close with Ryan, and then my parents their split up at that time, and it started to kind of go that direction, and then we, which is funny because we ended up moving back to the lake house where I got stabbed. So going in there, I was like, oh, Vietnam flashbacks.
I put the knives away.
Keep those fucking knives in there. Yeah.
Did sorry, I had a question, then you made me laugh with the stabbing in the head.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
I was talking about the house.
Why were you? Why'd you guys move around so much? Was it a particular reason, or just like leases up? Let's find somewhere new.
If only I had the exact answer, but I would imagine, if I remember correctly, a lot of it was financial. So it was like, can't afford this place, or this place is cheaper, or like, because I know a lot of like the moving situations was like, oh, Aunt Blah is moving out of this house, so we're gonna move in there because she's like gonna like help us renovate it. I don't know. There was a lot of reasons. Financial reasons as to why we moved around a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Christopher.
I love Christopher.
Was he born with autism?
Yes.
What do you remember about growing up with Chris? Actually, let me rephrase that question, because I've never had someone in my life who has autism, and I haven't studied it a lot. did Christopher still sort of develop like as most kids would in the first couple years, in the sense of like walking, talking, or from what you remember, like what was his trajectory like?
No, he crawled until he was 4. Crawled until he was 4. Barely said any words until he was 3. And you know, there was not a lot of speech, not a lot of like normal cues, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it was very obvious. Like right off the bat, they knew. Like when he was, I think they knew when he was like 3 years old, where they were like, he's not developing like properly. And so they'd go to the doctor, and then they were like, he's very autistic. Like they knew. It was very obvious. He's very obviously autistic. Like there's no question. Like, because obviously it's like a big spectrum. But he's on the lower functioning side.
What is the definition of autism?
I actually have no idea. All I know is that he has.
Jamie,
He is diagnosed.
do you mind?
I got you. Yes, I will be the James.
Hopefully you took that as a compliment and not like an
Hey,
insult.
No, I thought you were.
I only brought you here to pull up things on Google and no other reason.
I got
So as of recently, he has been officially diagnosed by the doctors as having mental retardation, and so he has that, but he also has like, I think they diagnosed him with like schizophrenia and stuff too.
So we got the young man has a lot going on.
He was dealt a very shitty hand. Yeah.
Is this? Do you happen to know what is the definition, Tyler?
It's characterized by difficulties with social interaction and communication by restrictive or repetitive patterns of thought and behavior. So
Yeah. I mean, that's what my mother told me. I think like the latest thing was that they said that he's actually like, by definition, mentally,
Now,
So-
is it? Do you have any idea if is it a genetic thing that maybe a great grandparent had, or is it just like people get unlucky with this thing?
I have no idea. I know there's a lot of theories. People have said that, perhaps it's certain vaccinations, or it's like sugars or artificial foods and stuff like that. The big boom of the autism, the big autism boom, the low functioning, super low functioning autism came from the 90s. That's like when it started, really. That's like where it really boomed. So, which is around the same time that they started putting aspartame in everything. So that's a theory. There's just theories. Like people have theories that maybe aspartame was what caused it. And my mom drank nothing but Diet Pepsi, which was full of aspartame at the time when she was pregnant for Christopher. So, who knows what it is?
Right.
I have no clue. Clearly doctors don't either. So hopefully someday they'll narrow it down to something. But right now it's still a big old question mark. Nobody really knows what causes autism. But the way the doctors kind of described it to them when they told my parents that he was autistic, was that his brain is like, they said, think about the brain like a ball of yarn. And it's, it's very neat and very tidy, right? Like a ball of yarn when you first, when you buy a ball of yarn, it's very neat. Things are uniform, and there's actually there's a process as to how it's wrapped. An autistic person's brain of Christopher's, level of autism is like if a cat mauled it. And it's like, it's all there, but it's like not wired right. So that's kind of how they described it. I don't know how good of a description that is, but that's kind of how it was described. Because back then, autism was not a very, it was common at the time. It was like booming at the time. But so, they had little research on it at the time. And now, obviously, there's the programs and stuff. Like Christopher's he's in a program and all that stuff. But like I said, they diagnosed him with mental retardation. And I'm like, so what does that mean? Like, is he autistic or is he not? Like, I don't even understand like what that means. Yeah. So it's like, it's a big question mark. I don't know. It's a big big question mark. So, but yeah, he is, you know, aside from him having this problem that obviously he probably is not much aware of, you know, he probably doesn't, because he's not really capable of maintaining that. Like, you can't look at Christopher and say, "Hey, buddy, you have autism." He would just be like, he would say nothing to you. He would probably repeat you. He'd probably go, "You have autism." Like, that's like how he was.
You have autism.
that's-
No, you have autism.
That's how Christopher responds to you. Like, he just repeats everything you say. He doesn't understand things, but he's very one-track minded. You know, it's like, "Oh, I want to see Dad," and then 2 minutes later, he'll be like, "Daddy, on Wednesday. We'll see Dad on Wednesday." And then it's like, "Yeah, see Dad on Wednesday," but he doesn't actually understand what Wednesday is. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just repeats things that people are telling him. So, you know, his perception of time isn't there. His perception of conversation isn't there. He can't really talk to you, you know? So, you know, to answer your question, that is how he's always been. It's just always been that way. And he's actually, you know, progressively, they have said that, you know, he's gotten only worse, which sucks.
Really?
Yeah, he's only gotten worse. His behavioral thing, he's on so many medications because he's a big kid too. He takes after my brother, not me. And Christopher will fuck you right up. He's a big boy. He's big. Like, he's built and he's tall. So he's bigger than me now. Like, and I've always known him as my little brother Christopher, you know? And now, you know, now he's got all this strength and height. And gets a little violent when he doesn't get what he wants, so they have to medicate him a lot. So he's very medicated, and he doesn't live at home anymore, so he's at the program and stuff. So
Does he do a lot of exercising as part of the program? Is that how he got so strong?
No. He's just genetics.
Just a strong man.
He's just genetics, yeah. He takes after my grandfather. He was a big guy.
What's the program he's in?
It's a center for autism in upstate New York. So
Gotcha.
it's just like they specialize in housing and teaching, you know, people with autism. And, you know, I was made like a funny joke because he graduated from the program. You know, he graduated from, you know, at whatever level he could graduate at. They did graduate him because they kind of get to a point where they're like, okay, he's kind of like learned all the stuff he's gonna learn, you know. But I always thought it was funny because my brother and I, Nick and myself, do not have a diploma, and he does. The one child my parents had that was, you know, dealt a very serious hand of autism is the only one with a diploma. And
That was pretty ironic.
I always found that really fucking funny. I'm like, wow. I bet my mom's super proud. But like, you know, he's bright and fun, and he's, you know, I love Chris. I don't see him very often because the program he's at is like 2.5 hours away from me. But you know, he's always been quite a handful. You know, my mom got to a point where she just had to make that decision to, you know, do we program, you know, do we just solidify him in a program, or do we, you know, keep him around so I get, you know, my ass kicked every day?
Yeah.
You know, like Christopher's he can be aggressive, and he'll throw stuff. I mean, he broke my brother's nose, which is kind of not funny, but it is funny.
Payback for the stabbing.
It is exactly. That's why I'm saying.
on your back.
Fucking
Yeah.
stabbed me in the head, dude. Christopher broke your nose, but it's, oh my god. Christopher threw a 2x4 into a dark room and broke my brother's nose with it. So yeah, but he's a really good kid. He really is. He's so sweet. He loves Batman. The kid is obsessed with Batman, and we all watched it. And from as oldest thing I can remember, you know, like the old remote controls for like DVD players.
Yeah.
He used to hold them like this, and he would operate it like this. That's what he does, right? Like, this is actually a very common thing with autistic people. They love to like watch movies and fast forward and rewind and play and loop. They love to do that stuff. A lot of them do it, and he very much has that trait, and he loves to watch his movies, and he loves Scooby-Doo and stuff. But I remember, he likes horror as well. He likes creepy things, and he thinks it's hilarious. He thinks scary things are so funny. And so, like, he watches The Grudge. And I remember he would be upstairs. We'd set him up. That was, like, a common thing. So, like, I can give you, like, a rundown of my day when I'd get home from school. I'd get home from school. My mom would be like, I got to go to work. My dad would be like, I work in the morning, so I have to sleep. You guys watch Chris. Or, like, if my dad was at work and my mom was both at work, I'd get home. I'd have to get Christopher off the bus. I would... I'd set up his video game stuff, so I'd give him like the TV and like an Xbox and all that stuff, or like a DVD player or whatever. I'd set him up in a room. He's very loud, so we'd usually put him upstairs because he likes to run around and he makes a lot of noises, and he's stomping around and stuff, and he's yelling, and so you put him upstairs and you check on him every now and then, and he likes to be by himself. He's still that way. But one day I set him up in the room upstairs, the far room upstairs. And I'm downstairs, and I'm, maybe playing Guitar Hero or something. I don't know what the fuck I was doing. But I get home from school, and I'm sitting there. I'm like 12 years old. I'm watching Chris. And he comes downstairs, and he goes, Austin. I'm like, what? He goes, come on, buddy. And then I'd be like, hang on. So I'm, finish up what I'm doing. I'm like, okay, come on. And then he would go, come on. And then I'd go into the room, and he'd be like, the eyeballs. And it's just like the Grudge lady on the screen, like, and I'm like, what the fuck? And he's kind of like paused on it, and he's like, the eyeballs. That's so funny, buddy. That's exactly how he's just so funny, man. He's like such a vibrant soul. He's funny.
I could just
He's a good kid.
imagine you all going to like a family horror movie at the theater, and when like the jump scene happens and the whole crowd's like, there's this guy in the middle of the theater that's just laughing his ass off. And I'm just like,
oh, dude.
That was not funny.
Yeah, no. Can't take Christopher to the movie theater. It can't take Chris to the movie theater. You can take him to the drive-in, not the movie theater. He would just be yelling the whole time.
Fair enough.
He would just be like, hey! That's exactly what he would just yell and be like, McDonald's. It's like, Christopher, shh. People are trying to watch. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't take it to the movie theater.
Fair enough.
It's too loud. Unfortunately, because I think we have brought him to the movie theater. And, I don't know how that's gone. I've never gone with, but my mom, maybe just the drive-in. I'm actually not sure. I've never been to the movie theater with Christopher, but he loves to just blurt things out. He also has Tourette's. That's another thing. He's got it all, man.
He's got it all.
Yeah, he's got severe Tourette's, so he has no control. He'll just blurt out swear words in public. He'll just be like, fucker. I'm not even kidding. Like, we'll be in, like, Walmart, and if, like, he has, like, a thought, he can't find, like, a DVD, because also another thing Christopher likes to do is severe OCD, so he wants to buy the same movie every time. He's always looking for the same Scooby-Doo or Batman Beyond movie, and if he can't find it, oh, boy, and he freaks out, and he'll just be like, Mom, you fucker. Like, that's exactly what he do. Mom, you fucker. And my mom's like, shh, and he's like, fucking yelling at the top of his lungs, and you're like, oh my God. But it's fine. Like, it doesn't even bother me anymore. I feel no embarrassment by it. I honestly just laugh every time, because I'm like, dude, if this makes anybody upset, like, goes, like, whatever, screw you, man. Like, this is my brother. Like,
yeah.
He can yell all he wants. He can swear in public. Go right ahead. He's got autism. Like, leave him alone. Right. Like, I have absolutely no shame or embarrassment of, being around him in public. Neither does my mom or my family. It's just, we've just so used to it. I just can't imagine what it's like for other people, because they're like, okay, some guy just screaming fuck in the movie section of Walmart. But, he's I love him. What can I say? He's my brother.
That's awesome.
He's my brother.
That's awesome that you're not embarrassed by it anymore. And it probably has given you more compassion too when you see like other people maybe having like some sort of like an out of the ordinary, like abnormal behavior where you might just naturally not to think they're autistic, but you might be more inclined to just be like, there's something going on with them that
Right,
and-
dude. I empathize so much and sympathize with everybody that I see, who has these things, because I know it right away. Like I know it so well because I've lived with it my entire life. Like, it's honestly wild, and the fact that my brother and I and my mom and dad and my cousin Jake and everybody in my family, really, because they all love Christopher and they've all been around him for a long time, but like our like level of understanding of like the mental problems that he has really do help you like look outward, like you said, and like you see all these other people, and to me it's a very normal thing to talk about. And I guess like a lot of people maybe feel a little like touchy about talking about it, but I'm always just like, yeah, dude, like I lived with it, man. Like he's a good kid. He's no different than anybody else, and I guess that's what it is. A lot of people ask a lot of questions about it, and they'll be like, "Oh, what was that like?" And I'm like, "Oh, I've never known anything different,
Right.
So I don't even know what it's like, really." You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just my brother, and he yells and makes a lot of funny sounds. Like he's just a good kid. He says some funny shit. Like, he's just very happy to have his movies and stuff, but he does this thing that my cousin Jake and he does this thing with his hand.
He can do that?
He does this, like
I can't do
he
that.
like snaps it.
Yeah.
So now every time my cousin Jake like comes around Chris, he's like, "Hey, Chris." He like does the thing back to him, and then Christopher's like smiling. He's like, "What the?" He's like, "Hey, man, I didn't know how to do that." But like, that's like the face he gives him music, But I can kind of do it. I can't do it right now.
Can
but
you do it?
He does like the snap.
You know what we're referencing, though, right?
He takes his finger and he snaps it. But he does that all the time, man. And Jake does it all the time when he sees him. It's funny. But
Kind of do it.
but Chris he's got a sense of humor too, man. He really does. Like I was saying to him, like on the podcast, I think maybe once, like he loves ladies.
Yeah, he knows what boobies are.
He knows what boobies are.
Yeah.
And he's got some teachers that are, pretty ladies, like he's got some pretty teachers. And
He's not shy.
a little touchy.
Oh.
But he doesn't
I don't think you said that. I don't remember that.
he has, he's grabbed his teacher by the boob a couple times. He doesn't know any better. He literally has no concept of that.
Right.
Like he doesn't know if that's right or not. Like, dude, he's grabbed my mom's boob before too. Like he doesn't get it. And but he does love the ladies, and he'll always come to me and be like, whatever his teacher's name. I don't remember her name, but like Miss Lisa Boobies. I'm like, yeah. He's like, Miss Lisa Boobies. Like, he's telling me all about it, and I'm like, nice. So, he's just a little different,
Yeah.
But he's a good guy.
Before I ask you my next question, do you want another drink?
Sure.
Do you?
I'd love one. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to take a little break?
We can take a little break.
Sure. Awesome.
Yeah. Are we doing well on this?
You're doing great. How do you think it's going?
Good.
Great.
I always feel like,
That's the real questions.
Oh, I'm not here to fuck around.
Oh, I didn't see that. I was not expecting. I was like, damn, who are you?
I'm always like, bro, I'm always...
Well, you get time to think about this now.
I know. I'm
You
going to do
should
my
be
homework.
taking notes.
I'm doing my
Dude, I'm
homework.
always so weird talking about what a good time this is. We're really asking all the questions.
Who are you? I was like, well, okay. We're going for it.
Well, I gave you your icebreakers.
Yeah. One of these. This is fantastic.
It's a better back. They should honestly pay me a royalty for how many of my guests have probably purchased those.
What the fuck is that?
It's a better back.
What is better back?
So what you can't see is there's a cushion behind them, and so then you put the straps around your knees and you tighten the straps, and the cushion pushes into your low back, and it sort of forces you to sit with your legs at the L angle and then sit up straight. And you're supposed to wear it for 15 minutes a day, and if you do that, apparently you'll have better posture. If you do it 3 times 15 minutes a day for a total of 45 minutes.
I'm gonna put a better back.
This
on
just turned into a QVC.
Well, what's funny is you know who Lori Grenier is? She's the queen of QVC.
Is she the Shark Tank
Yeah,
lady? Yeah.
It's her product, so it is quite literally
Wow.
a QVC product.
I'm gonna have
Wow.
a better back installed on my piano seat,
Yes.
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna be like, hey guys, hang on.
That's one thing.
Put up my better
my
back.
posture. I gotta get better with it. So I watch. You ever watch those chiropractor videos?
Oh, especially if they're dude. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Why do you ask?
Well, there's one in Sarasota, Florida. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Sarasota, Florida. You said it perfectly.
Yeah. His name's Ed McLaughlin, I think.
McLovin.
McLaughlin. And he's a chiropractor down there, and he puts all his like videos up. He does like these deep tissue massages with the chiropractic stuff, and I'm just like, when we go to Florida, that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
And he teaches the chiropractic work is to like loosen the joints, to like get them back moving again, because they get very tight, and when they don't move, that's when your other joints take over, and then that's when causes the soreness. So he releases the muscle tissue, and then is able to get those joints moving again, and then he teaches you how to stretch to fix your posture over time.
I would
And,
love to do that, but I hate being touched.
And
You know what's funny? Can I tell? I'm going to get really personal with you guys.
Go for
I
it.
wasn't planning on telling anybody this because I think it's
Okay.
weird as shit. But I feel like I can trust you guys, and apparently,
And the entire podcast,
right.
the entire internet.
So I'm single right now, and I've been having a lot of low back pain over the last couple years. And I was talking to my barber about it randomly, and he was like, you should go see my chiropractor. Me and the chiropractor ended up being in the barber shop at the same time. So we got to meet, and that
wow.
also helped. And I was like, this guy seems cool. Then I had him on the podcast. He fucking crushed it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go see this guy. He might be able to help me out. And on my first session with him, like I said, I don't even care if he hears this because we've grown very close very fast. But like, I really enjoyed being touched. I was just like, I just feel like and I think that's a big part of the reason I force my hugs on people, even if they don't want it, is because like I just don't get that physical human connection very much. You know, I work from home all day. My team that I work with is in Florida. I never see them.
I'm a hugger. I'm a hugger too. I love hugging.
Yeah.
So maybe you do like to be touched.
I don't like people touching my back or my face or my legs.
My only
He's like, well, let's see about that. No, I mean,
I can see the face. If someone was just to come up to me and like,
just palm it. Yeah.
you are about to get punched.
Yeah, I'm not a touch. I like hugs, but I think it's my bare skin. I'm not a huge fan of people touching my bare body. I'm just like, ugh, touch my bare body. Don't touch me. So
Touch me.
don't touch me.
Sarah's always like, let's go get massages. I'm like, blech. No.
But you could
So they're
wear
gonna
like
be
a long sleeve
"Meh."
shirt, couldn't you? 'Cause
Yeah, you can do it
don't
over the
have
shirt.
to go to one where they make you get naked.
Yeah, but
and stuff.
then I'm gonna be like the weirdo that they're gonna go home and talk to their freaking spouses about and be like, this guy had to wear a shirt
No,
today.
they're
Didn't
not
want to get touched.
They're not going to say that. You know how many clients they have that probably wear clothes?
And they're probably talking about all the weird feet that they have to touch all day. That's the one thing I can't get my feet touched. I'll kick someone in the face.
Are you ticklish?
You know what I'm surprised about is that you're not wearing socks.
Yeah, they're in the van. I forgot them. So I was just like, yeah, whatever. And my suitcase is buried in there, a whole bunch of stuff. So I was
yeah.
like, whatever. But yeah, Amaya sometimes will like slip and touch them on accident, and
Kick her?
I don't. Yeah, just my immediate reaction is
Just like
that.
like
and
it's
I'm like,
just
I'm so sorry, I didn't mean that, but don't touch me. Yeah.
That
So
makes sense.
that's the one thing, but
All right, I'm going to get even more personal with you now,
sure.
and I don't know how you're going to feel about this.
'Kay.
And for the
With Tyler or me?
well, with both of you.
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to ask you to like step out, but it has to do with the feet touching thing that he just brought up.
Mm-hmm.
And I've already told Tyler one of my heinous gay Grindr stories, and this one's not as bad as that one.
I was
So-
also informed of
I
this
told
story.
him-
I wanted to tell him that one.
I'm
kidding. I
Did
don't-
not
I
do
don't
it justice.
care. I
I
don't
did
care.
not do it justice.
I
But
got a different one for you.
I got you.
That has to do with feet.
okay.
So
Let's hear
this
it.
this guy named Ben messages me, and we get to chit chatting a little bit, and he says, "Let me rethink about this for a second. This was a while ago.
Oh boy.
I think he just said, hey, you know, I was wondering if yeah. Okay, here it goes. He was like, so the reason why I'm on here is because I'm looking to give guys full body massages because I really enjoy giving them out. But at the end, the way you can pay me is I'm gonna jerk myself off using your feet. Are you down?
That's what the message was?
Yeah.
It's very candid. At least it's straight to the point.
So
It's just like, hey, this is what I want to do. Is that cool? You know, at least no stone was I think that's the worst part is when it's like, I'll let you know what I'm into when we get there. You know what I'm saying? At least you know what he's into, like right off the bat.
we think.
Oh, is there more to it?
Yep.
Oh. Well, I spoke too soon.
So I said sure. I'm always sore. I'm like, free massage. If this guy's even like decently good, this will be great. And we don't even have to worry about the awkwardness of sex. Like, is he gonna use my toes? Like, I don't think it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. Like, it will just be like, I'll just
I love
be
how
watching.
honest you are. You're just like open, man. You really are an open book.
Oh yeah.
I found out very quickly.
Dude, it's
with
so
this first story.
it's
I was like,
admirable. It is.
It
It's
really is,
admirable.
I think it speaks more to you guys than to me. That I would not be telling everyone this story. I just feel very open with you.
Isn't this on the internet?
But it's different. I don't know. No offense to the audience, but I don't know who 98% of them are.
Ah, that's true.
Like, you guys meet your fans. I'm not doing like tours.
So
of
you're
DS
not
and a
worried at all
speed.
about your parents hearing it?
They don't listen.
And on the one off chance they do because they're fans of the Broken View, they're gonna be mortified.
No, you know what's gonna happen? My sister that doesn't like the incest, she'll probably tune into this one. This will be the one she turns on.
Holy fuck.
oh my gosh.
So he was like, we set a date and time. Like, we were both sort of busy, so it was like 10 days out.
Yeah.
And so we kept chatting, which I like to do. I like to build some rapport. And then he's like, hey, I have an additional favor for you to ask of you. And I said, okay, sure. What's up? And he's like, I'm wondering if you can go to the gym right before we meet and don't wash your feet. I really like musky feet.
What?
Oh my.
What?
You know what makes me happy is how much you love these stories.
They bring me lots of joy. This is hilarious.
The feet,
It's like-
man.
I feel like this is something you would hear in a comedy bit, but this is actually real.
Right.
Well, he's a comedian.
I mean,
This is comedy gold. This is great.
I do have that story, the other one I told you. We're
Yeah.
not going to tell it tonight. I do have a
a good
comedian
one.
friend, and I've been trying to get with him to tell him because I'm
Yeah.
like, I want you to use this story if you think it's funny, and you can
Yeah.
twist it up like
That is
however
really
you
funny.
want. But anywho, so I said, sure, why not?
Yeah.
The day before we're supposed to meet, he's like, hey, I have another favor to ask you.
Oh no.
Another.
And I said,
What the hell?
pushing
And
it
I'm
now.
curious. I'm like, let me at least read the favor. So I just like, yeah, what's up? And he says, do you have 2 Ziploc ties and 2 gallon-sized Ziploc bags?
What?
For what?
He was like, I really like it when the dude's feet is musky, but the last guy I didn't like that his body smelled. So I've been trying to think of a way we can keep your feet stinky, but your body's clean. So if you could put your feet in the bags and then zip tie them so the
Dude,
water doesn't get
what?
in. It was like a paragraph, like explaining like what he was thinking, what he was thinking.
Bro.
And we're not over yet.
No way.
So I told him
Did
no.
you do it?
No. I
Oh,
told him
okay.
That crossed the line. Okay, there we go.
So we draw the line at Ziploc bags?
no. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can come on my feet, but but I'm not doing the whole. So he blocked me,
Oh,
but I
geez.
said no. I didn't even say it meanly. I was just like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, I'll go do the gym thing, but I'm not. Like,
That's a lot. Like that's so much effort. I don't think anyone would.
it's a lot of effort. So about
Holy
2
crap.
years later, he blocked me on Grindr, and if you delete your account and then go back on, anyone you blocked or unblocked now has access again.
Oh, okay.
So about
the workaround.
So 2 years later, he hits me up, and of course I immediately remember him. I'm like, oh, it's Footbin. All right. And he says, could I take you out for pasta?
What?
Okay.
So we went out, and we had a great time. We laughed our asses off, and at the
And
end
then he
of
pulled
it,
out the bags. He pulled out the Ziploc bags.
and said, "Here you go.
Like, you know what's up next.
Don't get stinky."
And then he's like, what? We're just putting the rest of the pasta in the Ziploc bag.
Right. Oh, yeah.
No, but keep going.
So at the end of it, I really wanted to go out with them again. So I asked him if we could go out, and he said, "You know what? I don't like your personality at all, but if you ever want to fuck, I'm down."
Holy crap. What did I say? Candid as fuck.
Right. In a way, it was sort of refreshing a little bit.
Wow.
Like, it felt, when I was driving home, I was like, this feels better than getting ghosted. When you're just like texting them, wondering if they're ever going to text back.
Holy crap, dude. Your confidence level is like through the roof. And it's
Who's
no, it's a good thing. That's a
thank you.
good thing. You're confident. You're a confident gentleman.
I feel like
That's a good quality, man.
Thanks,
I'm just super shy. So like when I meet people who are like really
You're
confident-
shy?
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, Sean on
Dude,
stage last
the
night.
only thing that makes me not shy is performing or drinking.
yeah.
Everything else, I am always just like,
I'm very introverted as well.
Yeah.
And
Were
until
you guys nervous to come here tonight?
no, because
To
we
the
met
podcast?
We met prior. And,
I love talking. So
Okay, good.
Yeah.
yeah,
Good.
yeah.
plus, you're good company. So,
Yeah.
like I know he's saying the same thing.
Until I meet
me.
someone and feel it out and feel like I can also be open. I'm very introverted, and I'm like,
I resort to like really oddly timed jokes when I am like maybe nervous in a situation. Like, I don't know. I just like quote movies randomly and hope that somebody will quote back. That's what I do. I mean, that's why I love Tom so much because him and I have a lot in common. But he's like way more of a social butterfly. Mm-hmm. Because I used to be the social butterfly in the band. Tom has taken that.
just to a whole new
He
level.
has taken that crown. That is his.
Yeah.
But now that he's around, I have someone who not that the guys don't understand my like awkwardness, but I feel like he can see it, and he snipes my awkwardness. And when I'm feeling weird, I feel like we just have like this telepathy, and I'll just say something funny, and he's just like, "Yeah, funny things," and then he says them back, and I'm like, now we're comfortable. And I don't know. It's like, I don't know. Tom's a good friend. So, to be around very confident, person such as yourself, I'm always just like, wow, that's also admirable.
Yeah.
Because I am confident, but I'm just very to myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it a lot because this is not my episode, but I will just say, like, growing up, I was not a confident person. So to hear someone say that and mean it, it's almost like, is he lying to me?
No, I'm not lying.
I believe you. I don't think you're lying
Anybody
to me. It's
who
just,
would talk
I
about-
don't, you're saying something that I thought for a long time I never had. So to hear it is like sort of it's very nice.
Dude,
So
I
thank
just
you.
think it's really funny that at first, are you all right?
Sorry. Yeah. Thank you.
I just think
It
it's
was. I blame you. I woke up with an itch in my throat this morning, and that's because at last night at the end of every song I just go, yeah,
God.
and my voice is just like I
Gone.
woke up this morning and I was like, am I sick? And I was like, no, it's the fucking show.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
So it's not. I'm not sick. I'm just
I love the
popping
energy.
those guys. And anyways, what were you saying?
I just
Sorry.
think it's really funny that I started the show being like, is it okay if I say fuck? And you're like talking about coming on feet.
It's that kind of show.
As soon as you brought it up, I was like, oh, I guess fuck's okay. I guess fuck is cleared.
right.
But no, seriously, you're not worried about, I just think, again, with the confidence thing, to go back, you're not worried about your parents like hearing you talk about your sexual things. Because I would never,
So I have a
ever talk about my sexual things in a situation where my
Speaking-
mother could hear it.
Well, speaking of, Tom last night asked the sound guy. He was like, wasn't it Fred? Was it
Fred.
He was like, yo, Fred, where's the weirdest place you've done it?
That was me.
That was you?
I asked Fred that.
I thought Tom did.
No,
there you go.
I was drunk.
You were
See?
drunk.
I had the liquid courage. I was like, well, because we were all talking about some weird. Yeah, you guys were talking about like weird places you did it, and like
Oh, because
Tom
Tom
brought
was,
it up.
Tom was like,
Oh, don't get Emma mad at Tom, man.
they won't listen.
we'll
He won't listen to this.
yeah, we'll we'll go on.
But either way, everybody was talking
We're
about.
staying with them for a couple
Everybody was talking about
this
some
isn't
weird
coming out
places.
tonight, you
That's
know?
true.
That's
You'll
fair.
be long gone when this thing comes out.
Well,
When I see you again. No, everybody was talking about weird places they'd done it, and I just looked over at our really cool British sound guy, and I was like,
who's like,
"Hey, Jeff."
he had to have been what, 50?
Dude, he was awesome.
He was really
He was so cool. I took a picture with him.
Yeah,
He
he's
looked
a
like
great dude.
he was a very very, very, very cool British guy. And I asked him, I was like, why the hell leave Great Britain? And he was like, oh, you know, opportunities here, whatever. And
His job.
His job. And I was like, that makes sense. But when he was doing sound, he was like, you know, doing things. And he was like, is it okay if I do this and I do that? And I was like, dude, British people are better at everything. Do whatever you want.
It sounded really good.
Thank you.
Good.
Yeah,
Cool.
man, that's
to,
all.
to his, because when we sometimes with small venues they can be really hit or miss.
Yeah.
because there's just so much they can control with what they have if it's
Oh,
low
for
budget
sure.
or whatnot.
Yeah.
But no, it was acoustic wise it was good. It sounded good. There's this bar in my hometown that shut down because when you walked in, the music literally just bounced off all four walls. So
Oh my God.
it just sounded like noise.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And we don't know that's why it shut down, but there's no way it didn't play a big part in it.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're probably
So
like,
far
we either
we-
rebuild the whole thing or just close it.
It's now a Nordstrom's rack.
Okay. All right.
What were you saying though? Yeah,
So far, we've had pretty good luck with most of the venues sounded pretty good. There was one venue that was a little weird,
Yeah.
but
Oh,
we worked
Yeah.
through it. It was all
Yeah,
good.
some of those places sounded so good. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Dude, I know immediately when he plays a drum kit how the room's gonna feel.
yeah.
Because obviously to you guys it might sound really good, but to us it might sound not good. And vice versa. So I don't even know. Maybe the places that I thought sounded good did not sound good because maybe it sounded better for the audience, but I don't know. All I know is this. When he plays the drum kit and the kick drum is not like booming into my microphone and like the snare is not like pinging back, I know it's a good room, at least for the stage.
Yeah.
Because
And if I can't feel like the kick drum, like
yeah.
vibrate the floor around me.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I'm
I could feel it in the floor. I'll tell you, man. So
when,
far,
when I feel that, I'm like,
Memphis.
okay,
Memphis.
we're gonna be good.
Yeah, dude. Memphis.
Memphis.
What was that venue called?
Was it Growlers?
Growlers.
Was it
That
one?
place sounded so good. And it was such a great atmosphere. I don't know. Growlers was perfect.
Yeah.
I loved Growlers. That's my favorite one so far, man.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe it was the room, but I was telling the people like after the show, and I really meant it too. I hope they didn't think, oh, they probably say that to everybody. But no, I really meant it. They were louder than a crowd of 100.
120.
We played a show with 120 people there, and they were louder. Like, way louder. And there was only like 40 of them.
Yeah.
They loved you guys.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That I can't wait to go back to Memphis.
That's
I
like
mean,
another thing is like when the crowd like gives that energy towards the stage.
Oh, we fucking played so
we-
good that night because they were so into it.
Yeah. It really like you could feel it. There's like a relationship between those two, and
All of the band members were on cloud nine that night. Seriously, after the
Yeah.
show, Tommy was grinning from ear to ear the
Yeah.
whole night. He was smiling. John and Joe were freaking into it, man. Everybody was having such a good time, and I was like, dude, when a show goes good,
yeah.
a show goes good, dude.
Yeah.
Everyone was so
I mean,
positive.
don't
after
get me
that
wrong,
show.
they've all been
No, they've all been great, but
Great.
there are going to be the shows that just
But
kind of hit
they
like
stick out from
differently.
under
You
the
know?
rest.
It is what it is. We're
Yeah.
traveling, so obviously shows are going to hit different.
yeah.
Have you played in Memphis before by chance?
No.
No.
Well,
This is our like first time venturing this way. So
Yeah.
we've never been this far. I think the furthest we've ever gone was Buffalo.
Yeah.
So that was it.
nice.
Yeah.
I met a fan in Memphis. Her name's Megan. Very, very, very nice person. Sang every word of our songs with so much passion. It wasn't just like she was singing along. She was like in the song. Like, and I told her after the show, I said, listen, I looked at her and I said, that was me going to Blue October. I was literally you. I was standing out in that crowd, singing my heart out so like everyone around me could probably hear me over the fucking band. And that's how you were. And that means so much to me personally because, I mean, dude, what world do I live in where I get to watch someone do that with my music as I once did to someone else's? That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
I like it feels so she was so into it and lots of the fans are really into it. But she stuck out to me and I brought these shirts that my stepdad had made that say like, you know, TBV hearts the city,
Yep.
right? And I throw them into the crowd. But that night I purposely threw it at Megan. I was like, that's your shirt. Like you earned it. Like the passion was so radiant. And I saw myself, you know, took me back to like 2013 when I was watching Blue October play at Irving Plaza in New York City. And I was just like, dude, no way. Like, that's happening for me now. I just never thought that it would actually get to that point. So, I don't know, man.
Megan, what is her name? You said?
Megan. My brain can't even process how cool it is, dude. It's just the coolest thing ever.
That after show high too.
Oh my God.
That's like the. That's like. I can't even describe it to somebody. It's what.
You ever been
keeps us going.
skydiving?
No. My sister and her husband had tickets to go skydiving, but then she got pregnant, and then she didn't want to risk anything after that, so then they didn't. But I would never do that. I have a very bad height problem. So
Me too, and I love it.
you love? Oh, okay. You went, you
The only reason I brought it up, just so you don't think I was like completely just
Yeah.
ignoring you guys.
Oh, you
No,
think
you're
that's a good feeling?
Well, because I was hoping one of you were gonna say yes, because I was gonna ask if like when you land on the ground, you feel like you could conquer the world. Like,
Yeah.
it brings you this energy
Yeah.
that I've never found through drugs, alcohol.
Yeah.
Well, those are more numbing agents, but like it's just you can't even. It's hard for me to even describe like
Right.
how you feel when you're on the ground. And so I was gonna ask if it's sort of like that, where it's just like
I would
this-
imagine so.
Yeah.
I like I said, I'm a very introverted person, but after the show and I sit at the merch table and talk with people, I'm just like, it was so great to hear you sing these songs and be. Thank you so much for coming. Like, I feel very confident about the show and everybody who comes up and talks to us and I don't. That's not like a typical. I wouldn't normally in my day to day just like have an open conversation with somebody. I'm very reserved. But the after show high, as I say, kind of gives me that boost of confidence to be like, yes, thank you so much for coming. And what's your name, you know, and really get to like meet the fans and speak to them for a little bit. So it's and that's the reason that I love being out on the road, and that's the reason why, like, you know, because we do everything on our own. We don't have a crew of people. Like, we're loading in all the stuff. We're driving the long hours and sleeping in these really crappy hotels, and that we can get into that.
Holy fuck.
But the after once the show is done and people like there's been people that have been like crying while we're playing, of like, because they're just feeling all the emotions, because people come up to us and say that our music has helped them get through like the death of their loved ones, and it's like,
Yeah, dude, that's like exactly what I have always set out to accomplish, was to like give back, because that's exactly what bands like Blue October and Linkin Park and Breaking Benjamin and Metallica even have done for me my entire life have always spoke to me in a way where I can like listen to them and just get so lost in it. And I loved standing out in the fucking winter of upstate New York, smoking a cigarette, drinking my coffee, and just listening to these fucking songs and being at school and just being like, I don't give a fuck what the guy that's saying up there. I don't give a shit. I'm putting on my headphones. Like, I just never cared about anything except music. It's the only,
So on that point, we will. I do have a very specific questions about your relationship with your fans, but I wanted to save it for the end.
Sure.
In terms of high school, why did you drop out?
Because I hated it.
Why?
Because
I mean, who did it?
my
I don't think anyone was like, I love high school. But like, how'd you get your parents to?
let me try to.
Yes,
I'll make it quick.
you can make it not quick.
Okay, I will do my best to make the most sense so people don't think I'm a fucking jackass. But like, my parents were getting divorced. I was very much upset about it. My brother was a little more external with his feelings about it. They didn't do it when we were young. We were like 14. So
Nick was more.
Nick was like 14, 15. I was like 13, 14, and Christopher was like, 11, 12. My brother Nicholas was far more outward, about his grieving process. He was a little more like vocal about things and a little more emotional on the outside about things, and I was very internal. I was feeling it, and it was very difficult to handle. And I think the best, I don't know what it is about this. I have never ever said that a band has saved my life. Because I don't necessarily know if I believe that completely. In my case, and the quick detour, the fact that somebody has said that to me like blows my mind, and I thought I was gonna cry. I did not. I held my composure, and I could not believe that somebody said that to me. But I have had a fan, a couple actually on this tour, tell me personally that my lyrics have saved their life, and I have always read those comments about like Blue October stuff. Like, I remember being an early fan of Blue October, and seeing a lot of people saying those things, and I was always like, wow, that's intense. That's like really intense. Is that possible? I always questioned it. I was like, can that really be? Like, can music do that? And I guess I never actually thought about it, but until recently, until things have been put into perspective for me, I guess in a roundabout way. I won't say it that way, but Blue October did something similar for me with Any Man in America, because my parents were getting divorced. That is a intense, like, open book album, literally into the life of Justin Furstenfeld, the singer of Blue October, of the divorce, of the custody battle, of the cheating, of the money, the financial stuff, the lying and the yelling and the intense, and then the sad, more depressing parts, and the violence and everything that goes along with divorce and children. And I was just like, at the time, I guess I just flocked to it because my parents were getting divorced. So when I heard the song, and what's crazy about it, when I was younger, I guess I never really put thought into what it was about. It just spoke to me. So when I look back on it, and the older I get, I go, wait a minute. My parents were getting divorced. I heard a song called "The Feel Against Day." I replayed it about 3 million fucking times on YouTube. That must have been because of what the song was about. And I was so young, like 13 years old, and it's really speaking to me on that profound of a level. And as the years go by and I'm learning about this guy's life, and I'm like really being a part of it, I just wanted to do that. And school was never an option, ever. I couldn't be there for more than 5 minutes without feeling like I absolutely hated my life. I couldn't be around anything. I just told myself I have learned everything I will ever need to know about anything when it comes to school. I don't need to be here. Like, I don't give a fuck about math. I don't give a fuck about English, except for like writing. I don't give a fuck about science. I don't care about history. Like, I just want to write songs about what I feel, you know? I just want a diary, you know? I don't want to be around this. My family was going through some shit, and I just could not. Nothing about being in school made me happy. It was just, I had friends, but I was in a new school, so I was just like, all my friends are down there. They're doing their thing, man, and I'm up here making new friends, being the new kid again, being lonely and bored, and I just couldn't, I couldn't do it. I could not do it, and I did not do it, and I chose not to do it, and my mom was not happy, to answer your question. She made me move in with my dad. She was like, if you're not going to go to school, you can move in with your father. And I was like, all right, because he ain't going to make me go. So I moved in with my dad, and I started learning how to use some programs. I was already in it. I already had like Mixcraft. So I already kind of knew my way around a DAW. So I'm like learning and more, and I'm writing. And then I met a girl. That girl. The something better girl. Her name is Aubrey. I met her. And that was the craziest moment of my entire life. 100%. The craziest thing I think I've ever gone through.
How'd you two meet?
We met at a coffee shop at the time called J. Watts in Scotia, New York. And she walked in with my friend Vanessa. And my friend Vanessa told me that she was single. And I was like, neat. I'm trying to build my portfolio with my art here, man. I ain't got time for ladies. I'm like 17 at the time. And I met, her, and then I don't even know how it happened, man. All I know is in my memory, it goes like this. I'm with her at the place. I'm playing piano in the back of this coffee shop. Playing piano. I talk to her at some point. And then the next thing I know, my dad's dropping her off, and I kiss her on her porch. And then we're dating. I don't even know what happened in between those events. It's a blur. But then we start dating, and it was crazy. It was a crazy situation because I think I was a little codependent on this woman at the time because I had all that stuff going on. And that's why I say my brother was very external with his grieving and his dealing with the divorce, and Christopher and the moving, and he grieved in a normal way. I did not. I grieved in, that's why I wrote the lyric, I grieve in black and white, because I feel like that's how I always do it. I feel like I always, it's either the most intense form of external or the most intense form of internal. There's no in between. I can't, I'm either writing the craziest shit ever, or I'm not saying anything or feeling anything. I just keep it all in. So I feel like at that time I was doing a lot of that, and I guess I was really clinged to the idea. And like I said, dude, it goes back to all the way when I was 5. It really does. I've always just been obsessed with the idea of love. I loved the idea of finding somebody that understood, me and wanted to be around me. Somebody who just wanted to be near me and hear me talk. And this was like the first time that I really, I had like a high school girlfriend. But whatever, her name was Devin. Nice girl. We still talk from time to time. It's okay. But like this girl, in my mind at that time, I was just very like, I don't know, like I said, I was codependent. I needed it to work. I needed it to work because I guess I was like thinking about my parents' divorce and all this stuff, and I was just like, well, this has to work then. This has to work, like they can't make that work, but I'm going to make this work, like this is going to be awesome. But she was young. I was young. We were stupid kids, and we did not know the first fucking thing about being in a relationship. And we made a lot of mistakes. And she was like, she had a lot of like trauma and stuff, which I understood. And I tried to like, help. I feel like I made it worse trying to help. I don't know how good I was at talking about things that was intense for her, but excuse me. I feel like I probably made it worse trying to help, when you have a situation where it's like, you should probably just not get involved. And then you do, and then you're like, oh, whoopsies, I broke it. And, it was that kind of thing. But it meant a lot to me because it taught me so much about a lot of things, It taught me a lot about myself. I can be very honest with you and tell you a certain situation that I've probably never talked about, but there was like there was like a situation, with like a school teacher and that girl I was dating, and I found out about it, right? And I found out that this teacher was doing this thing where he would like message girls and stuff. He was like a social studies teacher at that school. And I like found out about it, and then I like called the cops, and like the cops came and stuff, and I got that guy fired. And I felt really good about that because it was really creepy what he was doing, Like I found out about it and I was like, what the fuck, dude? And then I stayed with the girl even after all that stuff because I was like, well, it's not her fault that the dude's a fucking creep. And, but it was just, maybe I wasn't, maybe I really wasn't okay with doing that. Maybe it was traumatic for me. I was just like, holy fuck, dude. Like, I'm calling like the police and they're getting this guy fired, and it's my girlfriend who's like a victim of this fucking guy. You know what I'm saying? And there was just a lot of things going on in that relationship where I was just like, oh boy, one thing after another, But I was so dead set on fixing everything. Any little thing that would happen, I was just like, it's okay. I will fix it. I will make this better. I will stay through this. I will fix it. I will make it work. And that's what I did. And I think it drove me insane. And I became a pathetic loser from it, unfortunately. And I just like got completely obsessed with this girl. And we broke up. And she wanted, nothing to do with me, understandably. And, there was like some yada yada cheating involved and all that stuff. And I found out about some stuff, yada yada. And then we argued and fought until it was just like, okay, let's just end it, right? And then the contact was just no more, right? Like it was just nothing. And that's really when I sat down and went, I was so sad and so alone and bored, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And I'm working this shitty job that I fucking hate. And I'm doing all this stuff that I don't want to be doing. And I'm grieving like horribly, and I don't know. I'm just doing a bunch of shit that I don't like. And then I met Tyler, and I'm trying to work through all this stuff. I'm writing it all down. And I'm in a band with these guys that are like, I just want to make metal music. And I'm like, I'm trying to fucking work through something. Let me work through the thing. And they all want to write thrashy riffs and stuff. And I'm like, ugh, I just want to talk about my feelings. But then I met Tyler, and I worked with him, and it was just the right canvas to get it out. So that's where Something Better came from. So in a roundabout way, to answer your question, no, school did not fit into any of that.
Yeah, it was when you said to answer that question, my mind immediately went, "What was the question?"
School just did not fit into any of that stuff I had going on. And every time I sat down at a desk and somebody put a piece of paper in front of my face, I went, no, like, not doing this.
To
No.
jump off of that,
Was that like too honest? I'm sorry if that was too open.
That was I enjoyed every second of it.
Okay.
Thank you for being willing to share everything.
I hope everyone understands. And I've said this before you go, Tyler.
no, you're fine.
I don't know if my existence was as important and as pivotal as that person's was for me. But I'm glad it happened, and I'm glad that I met that person. And if I saw them today, I would just thank them and tell them that they'll always mean a lot to me. And sorry that we were so young and dumb.
Well, I remember
That is something I just wanted to get off my chest there
Yeah.
about that.
Well, I remember because we had never really spoken about that until like after most of the EP was done, and then I asked him I remember we were going to Walmart
Yeah,
to
we were
meet
going to
this guy
Walmart,
to meet
bass.
this guy to meet this bass, and I literally flat out asked him, I was like, "What happened to you?" And he told me what he just shared, and because I really resonated with like a lot of the lyrics that he was writing, and because I've always had that same kind of I'll just fix it. I'll take on all this weight that you're dealing with, and I'll take it and I'll solve it and it'll be okay. That's kind of like how I dealt with my relationships. And it doesn't work. Don't do it. Don't do it.
You can't
You
fix.
can't fix. You can
You
only
can't fix shit that ain't fucking. Ain't it was never put together to begin with. It's just
Yeah.
it's broken since day one, dude. Because when you go into a relationship for the wrong reasons, it's always gonna
Yeah.
gonna. Because I feel like I said to begin with, I was really just doing it because I think I just needed somebody.
Yeah.
And I think maybe she did too, and that's why I say I think maybe we're there for each other, and maybe it was important because she's married now
Mm-hmm.
and happy
Yeah.
and incredibly happy for her, and I think that's beautiful, and that's just super cool, man. Like I don't know, I could talk about it all day. I'm sorry I cut you off, but it just means so much to me that I can look back on these things and be like, holy shit. Without that situation, I would not be here today.
Right.
Because I wrote my heart out on those pieces of paper with All I Feel Is You and Something Better. And the fact that those are the two songs that resonate with people the absolute most means the fucking world to me. Because I was so going through it, man. Like, I missed that person so much for all the wrong reasons. And those songs are so intense, dude. Like,
Well, I remember. So All I Feel Is You was the first song that was kind of conceived when we were like, let's make music under this name.
Yeah.
And we had like 3 other guys in the room, and they weren't vibing with it, but like him and I knew like right away that that was the direction that we needed to go.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah. I remember that feeling too, because I was just like, this guy gets me.
I was like, yeah,
This
like,
guy gets what I'm feeling right now.
yeah. And it was funny. So we really bonded over the music.
Yeah.
in
The
this-
lyrics mainly.
before we even really knew each other on a deep level, like, and where all this stuff was coming from. We just kind of put it into these songs, and then figured out later how, wow, we're actually pretty similar in, but also have our differences, and it created this thing that like now we're living out our dream, touring in front of people that are singing the lyrics back, and it's
Yeah.
like, what is life, man? it's like, it's such a,
It's surreal, dude. It's
Yeah.
surreal. It
yeah.
is.
And we started just in my bedroom, just
Yeah, man.
making music, and questioning whether or not
Uh-huh.
the Broken View was us for an all night.
Yeah,
We
And
spent-
it's crazy because you have like these, you have these milestones, and you have like these memories in your life. Because I mean, I've dated a few girls. You know, I've dated, but you know, like the only noteworthy one, you know, aside from my steady, very healthy relationship I'm currently in, which is awesome to finally be in a relationship that doesn't absolute suck. The only one that like really stood out to me to this day is that one. And I'm so happy that it happened.
Yeah.
It was the hardest time of my life, but I don't know where I would even be without that have happened, you know? Like seriously, nothing, we wouldn't be sitting here right now talking if I did not meet that person. That's the truth.
Yeah.
So I just like I have nothing but like I'm just grateful that I met that person. It was a lot of life lessons and a lot of pivotal moments where I will always remember and just be like, damn, I'm really happy that happened. It was tough. It was hard. It was sad. I cried a lot. But I'm happy it happened.
Before we go full on Broken View, I want to thank you both again for being here, but especially you, Austin, for being so open and genuine with everything you shared today.
Man.
The last question I had for you, is it true that your grandmother burned to death?
My great grandmother did burn to death in her own home. That is correct.
What happened?
So it's very fucking sad. I never knew her, which would have made it way worse if I did. But you know, I can't imagine what it must have been like. You know, my grandfather had his problem. He passed away, unfortunately. You know, a year and a half ago now. But I loved my grandfather, but he had some issues. And learning about this really puts it in perspective. And you go, oh, that must be a root of a lot of it. But I can tell you what happened, based on what I've been told. So she had a stroke, and a huge portion of her left side was paralyzed, or very, very immobilized. She was a smoker, and she was trying to light her cigarette on the gas stove. And she was wearing a flannel or fleece or something, flannel, like a flannel blanket around her. And it fell into the stove when she was trying to light her cigarette. And she was engulfed in flames. You know, I would imagine instantly. And then tried to make her way to the phone. It's very fucked up. It's very sad. And boy, oh boy, that's some scary shit. I don't know. Every time I think about it, I'm like, holy fuck. Like, that's horrible. And my grandfather came home from work and found her. Like, she tried to get to the phone to call somebody. So, yeah, that actually happened. That's correct.
Did that have any impact on why you decided to stop smoking, or completely unrelated?
That's completely unrelated, but I guess that might be a good reason why you shouldn't smoke. But then again, there's there's many others. So I mean, but
Wait,
no, that didn't like. If you're asking if that like had some sort of like trauma on me when I found out about it, no,
Not even trauma.
I didn't know her at all. She passed away so long before I even existed. This was like when my grandfather was in his 20s or 30s. So I have no memory of this woman at all. But absolutely terrible way to go. That's awful. But the house itself, crazy enough, the house itself down in Schenectady on College Street is now like fabled, or like a legend says from our family that it's haunted by her ghost. And a bunch of people have said that they've seen or heard things. And a lot of people that have said they've seen things have never gone back into the house. So I don't know. I'm not like a huge ghost guy. I don't know if I like believe in ghosts or don't believe in. I don't know what to think about ghosts.
I don't either.
I try to like keep that off of my topic of thought. But
Yeah.
but like it's pretty fucking crazy, right?
You don't hear stories like that very often.
No. That's why when I talk about it, I'm like, dude, you want to hear about it? It's fucking brutal. Like, I'll tell you. But yeah, that's true. It happened. Yeah.
I remember you brought that up with me for the first time.
A lot of people don't think
and I
I'm
was
serious.
like, yeah, I was like, you're joking.
No.
I was like,
No, that's really how she died. And
Dang.
like, I mean, not to add any gory details, but I know that, people always want to know the gory details. But my dad told me one of the gory details, and it's pretty fucking heinous. But apparently, she had like handprints from the char.
Oh, like she was touching the wall,
On the
and
wall?
the skin was like sticking to it.
Like there was black handprints all over the walls when they got there. Apparently.
damn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's brutal, man.
Damn.
But I wish I had, in honor of my great grandmother, I wish I had more things to talk about when it came to her. I wish I had more like things, like positive things. But unfortunately, no one's ever told me anything but that about her. I know nothing else about the woman but the fact that she burnt to death in that house. I have no other knowledge. No one's ever told me anything. My dad, I only know scary things about the woman.
Your dad just was
my
like,
dad told me he had nightmares about her, like saying scary things to him. And I'm like, what the fuck? Can someone tell me something positive about my great grandmother? Is she like a poltergeist? Like,
do you know her name?
No. What?
You don't even know her name?
I don't even know her name.
That's fair. I don't know my great grandma.
I don't know
I
her
don't know
name.
mine either.
Dude, people like don't talk about my great grandmother.
Yeah.
And my dad says that she was the sweetest lady, or he says she was not the sweetest lady. I can't remember which one he says. But he had a really scary dream about her one night where she gave him a really dirty look in his dream, and he says it terrified him, and he woke up in a sweat. And I'm like, dude, can people just stop talking about my great grandma? Like, unless you got something positive to say, for the love of God, stop telling me, because I'm going to get scared.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't even go into College Street. Like, I swear to God, if it's all just a fucking joke, I mean, obviously, she really burnt to death in the house and really died that way. But are people just fucking with the kids? Like, did y'all just, like, want to just tell us it's haunted just so you can, like, screw with me? Like,
I could give you one perception, but you might hate it.
what? Please tell me.
I had one guy on the show who he's a documentarian, and the three main things that he does documentaries around are paranormal, pirates, and treasures.
Okay.
And by the end of his episode, I was convinced that there's definitely something paranormal going on. And maybe we have different words for it, such as ghosts, or even like Christians might say the Holy Spirit. But like, you know, I was sort of like you guys, where I haven't given it much thought, and I've sort of never given one opinion over the other. But he just told so many stories about things that he encountered, and the fact that this man is making a living off of chasing this stuff. Sometimes when you sit across from someone for 3 hours and you have them just talk about it, versus
can
like
sway you.
watching a horror movie like Goodnight Mommy, or whatever it is, like you're like, oh shit.
Well, here's the thing.
There could be.
Well, I also
would like there to be.
Yeah. I would also.
If there's ghosts, that means there's an afterlife.
To play devil's advocate, though. You said he does this for a living.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it'd be bad business without those stories, wouldn't it?
Well, he got into it because of the paranormal activities he had as a kid growing up.
Okay.
And so he wanted to explore it further.
Understood.
And so, like, one of the things he was doing, it was fully self-funded. The project was. And a company actually reached out to him out of the blue and was like, hey, we heard you're going after this thing. If we fund it, could we do the documentary through our umbrella with our name on it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he believed in it enough that he was doing it for free at first.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say I had one. I didn't have the encounter, but this one story really freaks me out. I was dating this girl who claimed to have had like this sixth sense type thing. Like her grandmother was a psyche or whatever, and apparently that's like a genetic trait. So she had something that, like, as she was a child, she would experience all these. She would see these things that she couldn't explain, and she would hear certain voices at night and just weird shit. But she never really honed in on it, as she says. But so my grandmother, she had a lung issue. She moved in with us so we could take care of her, and she ended up dying in the house. And then maybe about a year later, I started dating this girl. And I was on FaceTime with her, and my dad was working on, we had like a little hot tub that he was trying to repair out in the back. And I had my phone up like this on FaceTime. And I opened the sliding door, and my phone was like over my shoulder, like this, as I was talking to my dad. And finished talking to my dad, closed the door, come back to FaceTime. She's like, is anyone else at home with you? I said, no, just my dad. He's out back. She's like, I just saw a woman with short black hair wearing a blue robe walk out of your bathroom, because the bathroom is right behind me. And I was like, immediately I knew that my grandmother had short black hair, always wore her blue robe. And I was like, that's weird. I don't like that. And then my dog, Popcorn, yes, he is a little Maltese. He was the man. He never liked going in his crate, ever. He gave such a hard time about going in his crate. He ran into his crate and started doing little circles, like running around, like. And I was like, what the fuck? So I'm almost convinced that she saw my grandmother walk out of that bathroom. But that was the one experience that I was like, okay, let's never talk about that again, because it's freaking me out. And the fact that Popcorn just went into his crate is freaking me out. Just let it go. And because I don't mess with the paranormal thing. Ghost stuff freak me out. Anything that I can't see, control, freaks me out a little bit. So we left it at that, but that always plays in the back of my mind whenever paranormal stuff comes up, and then there would be like some other stuff, like we would be in her bedroom like messing around or whatever, and she lived across a cemetery, and like we'd be in the middle of stuff, and then she would just she would stop and say, "We need to stop.
Yeah.
Someone's watching us."
Dude, what the fuck?
And I was like, I'd be like,
I'd break up with her immediately.
I was literally
That's
just,
your red flag.
I was literally just like, I was like, I'm out.
I'd just be like,
I left.
Who?
Yeah. She's like, I don't know, but someone is here.
God.
Just
Fucking terrifying.
Yeah. I was like, and she would be so calm about it. And I was just like, how are you calm? That is fucking horrifying. Don't ever say that again. Like, can you just ignore it? Just leave it alone. And, but yeah, I guess she just had like these overwhelming feelings of this paranormal world out there. And, yeah, there was a lot. I try to block it out as much as I can.
I love writing it. I love writing it.
Oh, I love, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
dude.
a good time.
I mean, I've been cooking up a movie for quite some time now. Super excited about it.
yeah.
Someday I'll make that movie. We'll make that movie. Someday.
Someday.
Yeah.
Someday.
Someday.
But it's scary as shit. I mean, it's one of those things where when I read it, it gives me chills. But then I go, how am I going to do that on camera? How am I going to, like, how
That's
can
always
I?
a trick.
Because that's the thing about books. The element of your imagination is what makes horror scary.
Yeah.
And
That's the thing we've been struggling with this. Is like,
it's so hard to get it on camera.
yeah. Because
As
when you
it is in
show
your
it,
mind.
it takes the element of the imagination away.
Right, because maybe they would think about it in a different way. So I'm like worried about that because I'm like, that's why I try to read it to as many people as possible, like the specific scene that I wrote. And I'm like,
The bare feet.
yeah. If I could read it to a bunch of people and then I can ask them, what did you see? How did you see it? What scared you the most? Like, what was it? What part of it? What did it look like? That's kind of how, before I ever make the movie, I'm going to spend probably a good year gathering information, reading the script to people, and seeing what they come up with as far as visuals. So I can make sure that I come to a good middle ground of the imagination of people, because this probably never really been done. I feel like it's always just like, oh, the director goes, I know what's scary, and then they do it, and then people watch it and go,
Well, here's
Oh.
a perfect example.
You know what I
It's
mean?
like jump scares in movies. The
"Oh,
jump
I
scare
hate
is
jump
not.
scares."
They're not. The jump scare itself is not what's scary.
No.
It's the anticipation of the jump scare.
Yeah, it's
That's
not,
what's
It's not the
scary.
content of the jump scare. It is the jump scare.
Yeah.
It's the jump that scares you. That's why it's called a jump scare. But it's a cheap scare. Yes, you did get a reaction of the audience,
you
and
go,
you got
but-
everyone to go.
But the feeling of like anticipation and that tenseness before you get that
Yeah.
release is what we're after.
I want to absolutely disturb people.
Yeah,
I-
this movie's crazy.
No, I want people to be absolutely uncomfortable. I want to make people leave the theater if they're so scared.
You know, one part of me.
I probably won't succeed, but I will do my damnedest.
One part of me was going to say, if you ever want to read a script to me, I'd be honored to give you my feedback. But after that comment, I also sort of want to just be able to go to the film.
I know, man.
We've been, like the first like script, rather more like just like notes mainly. Just like it was like after something better. It's like when
Yeah.
we started.
Me and
coming up.
Adam,
then Adam, yeah.
Adam and I have been rewriting the beginning too. Because
Who's Adam?
he's a good friend of mine from Britain.
Cool.
We met him through the band.
Yeah, he was a
he-
Patreon.
Patreon
and
fan. Yeah.
We just got real
Him and
close.
I were talking recently, and we're rewriting some scene. I could talk about it a little bit, but like, we were trying to add like this element because the whole inspiration I had for the movie was from a video game, that never got made, actually. It was a Silent Hill game that never got created, which is 100% the scariest experience you'll ever have in a video game. And I loved it. And I love scary things. I love the feeling of being so scared I can't play a game. I love it because it makes the game so fucking mysterious. And you're like, I'm going to get that game. It's like a mountain that needs to be fucking climbed. You know what I'm saying? You're like, I will beat it some fucking day. Like, I'm still working on Alien Isolation. It scares me so much I can't fucking play it. And I love that. But I want a movie to do that. And I've never watched a movie a movie that has come close to doing that for me was probably The Grudge. Because, yes, you watch The Grudge. Now, it might not be as scary. But picture this. You're 8 years old, and there's a lady who had her throat, that had her neck broken and stuffed into the attic in a plastic bag that crawls out of it and goes, Yeah, that's fucking horrifying. That's probably one of the scariest things ever made. Like, we're just so desensitized.
Yeah.
So what my goal, being 8, dude, I would cry at that movie. That movie made me shed tears, and I love those memories because I was just like, dude, there's something so fascinating about horror because it's like it's like the most visceral feeling ever. There's nothing better for me than being scared. I love watching scary things. Not like really scared. Like, I don't want to be scared for my life. My fans come up to me, I want to scare you to death. It's like, no, please, God, don't. But like, no, I love being scared from art. I love fear. I love frightening things. I don't know why. I just always have. There's something so cool about being like, just the conversation it brings. You have to watch this thing. It's fucking messed up, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want to watch it. You're like, how messed up is it? And then you watch it and you're like, oh, dude, what the fuck are we watching? There's something awesome about that. There's something so cool about it. Because it's not like, you can't just be like, oh, let's watch a funny movie so we can all laugh equally at the same time because the movie tells you where to do it. Right. You know what I'm saying? But like, fear is different. Fear is like a very cool thing, and that's why I've always loved horror movies. But anyway, I've been trying to implement the video game thing, right? So I like wrote this character that is like the son of one of the characters, and then the guy goes up. The main character sees the kid. I'm not going to give too much details because then someone's going to steal it on me. But like, I have added a little element of the actual of a game as part of like symbolism that sets something up later in the movie to where it's like you kind of question whether or not it's actually real or it's like a memory he's thinking about from the game. But I've also implemented, my crazy brain. I have implemented some of the things that we talked about earlier with my great-grandmother because I was like, that's a fucked up thing to happen. Mm-hmm. And I was like, it's really something that happened in my family. And I was like, I mean, is it like in bad taste to like put it into horror? And I say no, because what's the difference of taking something like that and putting it, into a horror film versus taking like, versus making like a real life recreation, like where they like recreate like fucked up things, like like world disasters, and then they like make a movie about it.
Right.
I'm like, what's the difference of that? Okay, like it's a terrible thing that happened in my family that I was like, I would like to implement it in there because I was like, that's something that I can use my imagination to, because it's all about, maybe that's the problem, in my opinion. Not that like modern horror movies have an issue, but I would say that like maybe there's not enough personal or like real life things that they can connect to. Maybe they're just trying to do like what he said, just trying to scare based on like, oh, the hair or the sound or the eyes, like the spooky walk or something. You know what I'm saying? I feel like there's just something so more. I'm rambling because I'm trying to dance around it because I don't want to say exactly. I'm just trying to dance around it because I don't want to say exactly what I'm talking about because then I don't want someone to take it because my ideas are good. They're good ideas. They're fucked up, but they're really good. But what I'm saying is like, I have some inspiration based on like real things that have happened in my family or things that have happened from like, you know, people I know that I've kind of like taken, and I'm like, okay, well that's kind of something I can work with, you know, and because.
Well, I mean that philosophy has kind of always worked for us to begin with.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
If somebody watching it can relate to it,
yeah,
even if it's, you know, even if it's horror, I mean, that's going to get the reaction that horror is supposed to give. It's supposed to be entertainment, but I don't think the horror that I'm trying to create is entertainment. I think the horror I'm trying to create is actual visceral fear. And that's what I'm trying to create. And I don't think I'm going to succeed exactly that way, but
if you do,
if I do,
it'll be pretty cool is not the word, but it'll be
bone chill.
all I'm saying is, dude, I guess I'm just trying to I'm trying to put like a real stamp and make something original without it being gory.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say that I see these movies that always have these taglines. The scariest movie ever made. Buy a ticket, please. And then I'm like, but what if there really wasn't, like, you see the comments and they're like, I couldn't even watch it. It was so scary. And I'm like, but I could watch it. You did watch it. What if there was a movie that really was hard to watch? It was so scary. And not for shock value. I'm not saying I'm trying to put scary, gory, messed up things. Like, you know, some movies resort to like, oh, they killed a kid in the movie.
Right.
Ah! Like, I'm not even doing that. I'm just doing some stuff that'll make you like unpredictable, like what the camera's doing and like what is happening with the people, like what they're doing, how they're moving. There's just so many things that I've been thinking about, and that's why it's going to be a magnum opus. It's going to be something that's going to take a long time. But if I do make this movie, when we make this movie, we'll do our best to achieve ultimate fear.
yeah, and
I know he's with me. He wants to
as
see.
As we're talking about it, I have an idea.
Yeah.
About that one thing.
Sure,
But
yeah, you can tell me after.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You should write it down real quick.
yeah, maybe.
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it locked in. But yeah, I think we're just chasing after because
originality is the real thing.
The feeling I had when I first watched the original Halloween, I too, as they were like walking up the stairs, I was crying. I was like probably 10 years old because I was just so afraid of what was to come next.
Right.
And watching it now, I'm like, this is so goofy.
That's the problem. That's the problem right there.
Yeah.
There's so much horror that will scare kids, like it scared me with The Grudge.
Yeah.
Now I watch it and I'm like, this is creepy, but I can watch it.
Yeah.
The thing with Halloween, there's not really a movie that scares adults that way.
Like my dad was laughing. He was like, "This is hilarious."
That's what I'm saying. And I think, and the only way you can ever get adults to go is by killing a kid or a dog. You know, like, and I want a movie that doesn't do that.
Yeah.
That like can actually scare an adult. That will make an adult be like, no, I actually couldn't watch that. I feel like they don't exist.
Without also being like gory or just like visually hard to watch. That's the trick. And it's like
we want to do it really with like sound and atmosphere.
Ooh.
That's kind of how we want to achieve it. It's going to be done.
And the
with
only way to
sound.
do that is with the viewer's imagination.
Yes. So show them as little as possible and make them imagine what's happening.
Like what made Jaws so scary is that you didn't see the shark.
Right.
Yes.
You always anticipated the shark. So the anticipation is what we're after, not necessarily the jump scare.
Yeah.
It's the anticipation of the jump scare that makes
Yeah.
that feeling of like that very unsettling.
There's no jump scares in this either.
No.
I made it a rule when I started writing it.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
Absolutely none. And it's going to make like people really on edge because I want all the build up to have one, but it never happens.
Just an endless.
It's like the whole movie is just one giant build up that never gives you a jump scare.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, when's it going to happen? When? Oh, God. Oh, God. You know that feeling?
Yeah.
But the whole movie's that.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? And then it keeps happening. And then you make them think it's going to happen again and again and again and again. And then they're like, not that there's no payoff. It's just so. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know what we're going to do to like really make this happen. That's what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that the things that we've written down, when I read them, I get chills. And I want that feeling.
I get actual bone chilling.
Me too. And that's what we want to happen when you watch it, not just read it.
Yeah.
That's the problem we're having. Because it's like, yes, it's so scary to read it, which is probably why people are always like, books are better.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Yeah.
It's like,
People all have books because they always say the books are better because I'm sure their imagination made it scarier or more interesting.
yeah. So that's the
So
trick.
maybe we'll
That
never
is the
succeed.
trick.
That's why I think we're probably never ever going to do it. And Rotten Tomatoes is going to be like 15. This sucks. This sucks. And I'm going to be like, well, we tried. But we'll do our best.
Yes. Music and movies.
It's called Trip.
Trip.
That's the working title, at least.
Yes.
Trip. Trip. That's what it's called. Yeah.
Psychological
Yeah.
horror.
And I'm pissed because like 2020, a movie called Trip came out.
Oh
And
yeah.
I've been
and then
we've been working on this since like 2018.
yeah.
Dang it. But anyway.
Wow.
But it's okay.
It's not the same.
It's
So
not the
we're
same.
good. We checked.
No, I watched the trailer. It's definitely not the same thing.
No. Yeah.
But yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, our brains never shut off.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're like rambling now. We're just talking about our movie that people are like, okay, write a scary, okay. Like they're probably like, okay, idiots. Write a scary movie. Okay, what the fuck? They don't know anything about it. They're just like, these guys are annoying.
No, don't say that.
Like just like fucking, it's so scary. But I can't wait to make it. It's gonna be so fucked up.
That's where I'm gonna bring it. That's exactly where I'm gonna bring the edit back in. Is I can't wait to make it. It's gonna be so fucked up.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Because I do want to be respectful of your guys' time, and you're on the road this week. How many more minutes do you want to go for? I have a few ending questions, or are we just free flowing for?
Bro, we're free flowing. Free flowing.
Whatever you think.
We got 4 days off.
Whatever you think.
You do have 4 days off.
Yeah. Whatever you think.
We'll hang here for whatever.
All right, cool.
Whatever you got. Throw it our way.
I love it. So going back to from movie making to the Broken View.
Yeah. What's that?
TBV?
Oh yeah.
It's this really good band out of New
I'll have
York.
to check them out.
Please do.
They're on tour right now, aren't they?
That's them.
No, look at that. This guy's really handsome.
Yeah, he is.
What's the question?
Even with that giraffe neck.
I'm a little scared. I do have a giraffe neck. Thank you. Giraffe neck. It's God's gift. I'm a little scared about your questions. They're very intense.
Well, the thing is, you know what? I almost wanted just to like burn the rest of them because it's turned into a very lighthearted conversation now at this point and whatnot. But
Go for it.
Here's the last intense one I'll ask you.
Sure.
Because it's about my favorite song, On the Mend. Who wrote that one? What did you guys write it together?
No.
That's him.
That was all you?
I wrote that.
That was
one.
COVID song.
I wrote that one all myself.
There's one particular line, before I write myself into final decimation. That's a pretty intense line.
It is.
I remember hearing that. I was like, holy fuck. It's like, okay, we're going that route. All right.
Did either you... This is just where my train of thought went, and part of it is because this has been a topic that we have been focusing on over the last 2 months or so. So it's been top of mind for me. But did either you or someone in your circle either think of committing suicide or?
No. So that was a lyric before I write myself into final decimation. That was a lyric that I wrote when I was in More Than Human, actually, which is the band I was in before The Broken View. We were not good.
That was the thrashy metal band.
We were fucking terrible. My buddy Nico and I were sitting around, and we had like a notepad, and I would write down phrases and sayings and sentences, and he would do the same. And I went back through it, and I was like, that's a cool line. I was like,
It is a cool line.
That's a cool line.
Well, and I listened to the song probably 7 or 8 times before I finally looked up. I was like, what does decimation mean? And I was like, oh, God. This is
So, So, I mean, I reapplied, right? That's the word I would use for it. I reapplied those lyrics because sometimes you write, okay? Sometimes you write down things and they mean nothing to you at the time. And then you go back and you think, because a lot of lyrics sit in a vault and you never touch them. And then you're like, yeah, well, there's that lyric. At least for me, this is my process. And then every now and then I'll go back and find some things that stand out to me. And then I just spit.
I saw that and I wasn't going to say anything.
Of course I will. I will call it out.
It just went over the mic. You don't have to apologize. It landed on your leg.
But anyway. So I go back through and I read my old lyrics. Sometimes they are good and sometimes they're not. But one thing that I will say that happens a lot of the time is they get reapplied to my life. And what I mean by that is when I wrote them, there was a reason that it got shelved. Because I felt maybe it wasn't something I related to at the time or could really resonate with and honestly sing in a way that was meaningful or whatever. But I went back and I found that old lyric sheet. And it had the lyrics, how can I sleep with a head like this? I grieve in black and white while your colors still run dry. And I think Nico wrote some of those lyrics, but maybe he just yelled them out. Maybe we wrote them together. I don't know. He's a great friend of mine, and if he remembers something and he's like, add me to the writing credits, I'll fucking do it. I don't remember, but he's a good guy. I don't even remember who wrote what, but I'm pretty sure I wrote those at the time. I'm pretty sure I did. Like I said, it was from an old journal where him and I would both write down things, But we were always writing lyrics together. It was something we always did. But there was lines, right? Before, how can I sleep with a head like this? I grieve in black and white while your colors still run dry. And then there was the line, before I write myself into final decimation. And I was like, and then the chorus was there too. I'll retrace this life under sober, empty skies. And I was like, that whole section was in that notebook. And I was like, wow, boy, do I relate to that now. And, it's funny you asked about like the suicide thing, because I that's not where I was really, I wasn't really going that direction with it. It was more about like alcoholism, because I have a lot of that in my family. A lot of people deal with alcohol addiction and have done with alcohol addiction in the past. I feel like I got a pretty good handle on it these days. I may have been, during COVID, was very, very bad with it. I think I drank like so much alcohol like every night during COVID. And that was where that song really came from, because I woke up one day on the couch of somebody's house, and I was driving home. I was like 35 minutes away, and I was like, this is fucking stupid. I was like, I'm hungover again, and I feel like shit, and I got stuff to do, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm not able to play shows. I'm all sad and depressed and all this stuff, and I'm drinking and doing all this stuff, and I don't want to end up like, my Aunt Jackie. Not Jackie, I'm so sorry. My Aunt Jackie's going to be like, I'm not dead. My Aunt Sharon passed away from, at least that was attributed to her passing. She was a heavy drinker and all that stuff. And there's just a lot of alcoholism in my family, and it always came into my mind during COVID, and I always knew I wanted to cover it in my music. I was just like, because I have that capability, and I know that because I watched myself do it during the pandemic. I was like, I am like way too into this drinking thing, man. Like, holy shit, I do it a lot. But I said to myself, I was like, but I like to do it. Therefore, I'm not going to tell myself I can't do something. I hate cutting things out of my life. That's my problem with the situation. And that's what On the Mend was. Because I told myself, I was like, I just need to have control, and I need to know my limit. And I said to myself, I am doing that. I don't smoke anymore. I don't vape anymore. I can drink less and not cut things out of my life. I can still have nicotine and not smoke up 2 packs of cigarettes a day. I can have beers and have a good time and not do it all the fucking time and go and day drink with my friends in Albany. I don't have to do those things. And I guess that's what that song was. It was before I write myself into Final Decimation. At that time, when I found the lyrics, I went, well, it makes sense now, because it's basically saying, in layman term, before I fuck my life up completely with something, I will make it right. Under the umbrella of clarity, and understand that there's just limits to things, and just have self-control, I guess. The song is really about self-control. It's not, and the idea of the first lyric, I'm on the mend because somebody left, was just me saying, you have people that enter your life and leave your life, and I've always dealt with that, right? I've had people come into my life and leave it, whether that be through death, whether that be through just relationships or disagreements or friendships or anything, right? So I was like, the way we mend is a very powerful thing, right? And we can all do it in different ways. And that was really just what I was saying in that song. Because every other lyric was written at the time that I felt that. And I was on my way home, and I was just pissed. And I was just driving my car, and I was, like, as soon as I get home, I'm going to sit down on my piano, and I'm going to write a fucking banger. That's what I kept telling myself. I kept telling myself that. I was like, I'm going to get home, and I'm going to sit at the piano, and I'm going to write an amazing song. I kept saying that. And as soon as I got home, I did nothing until I knew where to put my hands. I didn't touch a single note. And I said, when I put my hands down on this keyboard, that will be the song. And I landed on, the F minor chord that I started On the Mend with. And I knew I wanted it to have a drum beat that sounded like this. I knew it. So I was like, I had some things figured out on the drive. And I was like, mad about being hungover. again. And now I don't overthink things as much. Now I'm like, okay, whatever. Yeah, you're cool, bro. Chill out. I just was way too fucking, like I said on stage yesterday, you know, that's not just a show, y'all. I am an anxious person. And I deal with it every single day. And I'm always like, oh my God, am I doing too much of this? Oh no, am I doing this? I'm also a hypochondriac. Am I okay? I have a little sharp pain in my gut. Am I all right? Oh no, my arm hurts. I'm gonna die. Like I'm a freak, y'all.
We spent our entire day on Nashville trying to find him an urgent care for his. He had like this pain in his stomach.
Dude, I am a hypochondriac and I deal with anxiety so deeply, but I don't talk about it because I'm just like, oh, everybody talks about anxiety. I'm not gonna fucking bring that up. Like, I just keep it to myself, you know, because whatever. But I write about it and, you know, I let it out. And now I feel so much better now. I can't say that I relate to On the Mend anymore. That was like how I felt during COVID. I was very depressed and I was very anxious, and everything I did I felt like was the worst thing ever. So I feel better now. But yeah, those are some lyrics. I know Nico is in the room for a lot of those lyrics too. Now I don't know. Now I gotta talk to him. I'll be like, Nico, did you write some lyrics on the Mend? I don't think he did. I think that was me, but Nico's a really good guy because he called me because he wrote some stuff for the song Ordinary Love. He wrote like a line and I credited him. And I gave him credit and he was like, you did not have to give me credit for that one line. I was like, but you wrote it. He's like, well, that's nice of you. He's just a very humble guy. Nico's my buddy. But yeah, him and I sat down, put that down, and we never used it. It was repurposed for this song, and it was originally for a song called Rain Over Me, which is a song that we were going to put out on our second album, which had the most metal name ever. The album was called The Phantom Black. Oh, yeah. And he recorded a little bit of The Phantom Black. I'll be honest, still fucks. A couple of those riffs, banging. Banging. I still love them. But we repurposed some of those banging riffs for Banshee, which is Nico's band. Nico and I write for, and he does some screaming vocals and stuff like that. And I thrash it up, you know. We might have a show after the tour, actually, so which is exciting. So,
hell yeah.
But anyway, I hope I answered the question. I did it again. I did the blackout thing. I'm rambling again. God damn it.
No, you're good. You're good.
Did it make sense? Did I
Yep.
even? I feel like I'm just like don't even make sense when I talk.
You make sense. Does he make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I have 3 more questions for you and then a closing statement.
sure.
Before I ask these 3 questions, I want to thank you guys first again for being here because you're busy guys. You could have chosen a million things to do with your 4 days in Austin. I can't tell you how grateful I am that you took a couple hours to drive out here, come to the studio, and do this. So thank you.
Thank you. Anytime.
You'll be back. You'll
Oh,
be back.
yes.
Yes, you will.
He's
Yes.
gonna be in the hot seat next time.
Yeah,
Yes.
he is. He'll be right here in the
Jeez.
middle.
Thank God.
I'm gonna do my homework.
Stuck in
Who
the
am I?
middle with you.
Who am I?
If you guys didn't hear it on our break, but that question was really Tyler was.
I was like, wow. Okay, going right in.
To the audience, I also want to thank you guys for listening to the show, as always. As you guys know, this show is not sponsored, and I work tirelessly day and night to bring you guys good guests, good stories. And so my ask of you is that you share this podcast with someone that you think would find it interesting, but also subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give us a couple reviews on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Those stars really help so that we can spread Austin's story to as many as people that possible that need to hear it. And if you don't think that it's worth doing that for yet, stick around for these next 3 questions because I think we're going to sum it up pretty well. Next question for you. If I could snap my fingers
Yeah.
and bring Christopher into the room right now, and he is just as mentally capable, if that's even the right word.
That I would. Yeah, that works.
He
Yeah.
is in as a present state of being as the 3 of us are right now. and you could have 60 seconds to tell your brother anything, knowing that he would retain it even as he slides back into his autism, what would you tell him?
Wow.
Wow.
I would say, um, what is, I would say, boy, I would say, oh man. I would say boy, oh my God. I don't know. I tell him I love him all the time, and he knows what that means, right? I think. He seems to. He says, I love you too. He says that. So I guess I could say, knowing he's gonna go, like, he's gonna, like, revert back to his mental state. Okay. I would say, boy, that's interesting. I don't know, man. What do you say? That's a very strange predicament to be in. I guess, where? Oh, man. What's it like? I would ask him. What's it like? What is it like to be in your brain the way God or whatever intended it to be? You know, the way you are all the time. What's it like to be you? What's it like to be you really? You know? So he could describe it to me. What's it like to be in his brain? You know, for better or for worse. I would spend the 60 seconds talking to him about what it's like to be in his head. Because I've always wanted to know. Yeah.
You guys, you're doing this full time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of passion behind what you do. And as I've seen you guys evolve, even just over the last couple of months, I wondered, knowing that one day your parents will pass, is a lot of your motivation just being able to have that financial foundation to be able to provide for Chris?
That's definitely a part of it. I wrote a song about this, actually, that's not out yet, that I called Try. Yeah. I mean, I think about that from time to time, what it's going to be like when that day comes and what to do with that time and how to be prepared for it and who's going to step up. So that's certainly a part of it. But I have always said, and I told this to my girlfriend too, I said with no question, there would never be a discussion if my brother needed to live with me. It would be done. And he would 100% be with me or with Nick if so need be, you know, or whatever. Because obviously, I don't think he can legally be in the program forever. I don't even think they provide that service. So yeah, at some point he is going to be out of the program, and someone will have to take responsibility unless the decision was made for him to go into another program. But I vote not that. I vote somebody step up and take on the responsibility, you know? And even though I'm a touring musician now, you know, if that is my future, I'd still do it, you know, and do my best to have the most support for him at the house. But, you know, at least he'd be where he should be, you know, and with his family and whatnot. Yeah.
One of my traditions in 2024 has been stealing questions that I like from other podcasts and asking them of my guests.
That's awesome.
This
Read it and weep, Joe.
Nice.
This one I'm going to reframe a little bit. I'm not going to ask it verbatim like I have a lot of the other ones.
Sure.
In the context of self-love,
Holy shit.
what is something you need to be better at giving yourself?
Whoa.
Sparkle tits.
Sparkle Tits.
Why does he keep saying that?
Sparkle Tits was a character.
She was great.
Pow. What's something I need to be better at giving myself? Holy shit. Yeah. Time to relax. I don't do that ever. I can't turn my head off. Ever. You ask my girlfriend, all I want to do is work, and think about work and talk about work and do work and always be doing work. And she gets mad at me sometimes because all I ever want to do is work. She's like, when are we going to spend time together? And I'm like, shit, you're right. It's been a while. So I need to be better at giving myself time to not work, relax, not think about work. Yeah. Relax.
I like that.
Chill.
I don't believe in that. That's just my 2 cents.
I do. I love relaxing. Really
What's there else to do?
I don't know. Just enjoy the moment. I love enjoying.
What if you enjoy work?
I do enjoy work, but there's a thing about work though, because I can attest to this. You know, like you don't have to agree with me. That's fine, but I can definitely, I can protest to this, and I can say, a lot of my time working is not always fun. I do spend a lot of time working and being stressed and grumpy. And that's not productive. And if you're grumpy working, there's nothing wrong with being a little more like, you're a little uptight that day. You're like, oh, I gotta work. I got stuff to do. Nothing wrong with that. But when your attitude towards everything else becomes a little bit of, a little hostile, you're like, I'm working, like when work starts to just absorb all thought, I think it becomes a problem. I think you need to there's a saying, okay? I don't even need to try to talk about this in Austin language. I can just use a saying. Stop and smell the roses. That saying is existent because of this. Because a lot of people watch life pass them by because they spend all their time work. Oh my God, I gotta work. Oh, I gotta work. Oh, never a dull moment. I gotta do everything. I gotta always be on my toes and always have an opportunity to chase after and have something to do. That is so silly. You can't do that. You have to just have moments and days where you go, I'm not gonna do anything. Those are important days. You have to have days where you do nothing.
I have about 3 or 4 of those a year where I completely shut down and nothing happens. And the most productive thing is maybe the gym.
Yeah.
But
there's nothing wrong with days where you just go, I'm not going to fucking do anything.
Well, I'm in the mindset of the days that you don't want to do anything are the most important days to do something. Like the days you don't want to go to the gym, you should go to the gym. That's kind of...
What if 98% of your time is wanting to go to the gym?
I see both both sides.
And that's kind of, I feel like that's where we kind of, because we've always been like very different, but also very similar. And that's, I feel like, where we balance each other out. But sorry to cut you off.
No,
Go
you're
ahead.
fine.
Yeah.
One of my favorite conversations that you guys had was when you were talking how you wanted to get together with Austin to do some writing and just like isolate yourselves. And one of my buddies, you'll appreciate this, I think, more than Austin will.
Yeah.
One of my buddies wrote an entire album by renting it wasn't an Airbnb, but he found this like ranch in this isolated place and he rented it for like 16 days.
Yeah.
And he went out and wrote an entire album. So
That's
as we were
awesome.
writing, I was listening to you guys talk, I was like, Tyler would love that. Austin would hate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. It's like I was talking to Tom about it. It's really not. I honestly don't believe I can do that. You know, I talk about it all the time. I could do something close to it, to where like an idea happens, and then we spiral off of the idea. But there can't be more than 2 people in the room. There can't be. I know it can't happen. I know that for a fact. I can't work that way. I know I can't. And we've tried it.
And I still like to push that theory.
Yeah, that it ain't
Well,
gonna happen.
it can be just the 2 of you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it
it
doesn't
can be
have
the
to be
2
a
of
cabin
us.
for 16
That's
days.
why I said I'm totally fine with one other person in the room, but you can't, dude. There's a pilot and a co-pilot. You can't have backseat drivers. You can't have people going, well, I think, because there's always going to be someone where you go, that was dumb, and then you just move on, and then they don't feel like they're listened to, and because that is the problem with it. Because to me, songwriting is not something that is a group thing. To me, it's never been that. It's a very personal thing that comes from events in life, and you have a fever for it, and you get a fever to do it, and you need to get to a fucking instrument immediately and do something. It's not like, let's sit down and write. Like, I can't do that. I cannot do that. And it will not be good if I do.
Yeah.
I need to have a fever. I need to be like, it needs to happen now. Let's go. Like, that's just the way I operate. And I know how it is. I know myself. And listen, I've spent 27 years with myself. I know myself. Yeah. Okay? And if you want songs like On the Mend, I got to do my thing. I'm just saying, like, that's how I operate. You know, I'm sure something else can come out of doing it another way, but I like the way I do things, and
Well, that's why I'd be curious.
Yeah.
I love pushing you.
sure.
Into-
I get
into
discouraged
places-
that way, though.
I know. I like, because I mean that's how like Something Better was. I mean, you're like, I can't do that. I was like, just try it.
Yeah, but Something Better was like half written before we started.
No, not even like with your singing ability, just in general.
Oh, the singing. Oh, the technique.
The
That's
technique.
a different thing.
But
The songwriting, though, I had done half of it. Like, all
Yeah.
the lyrics are written for All I Feel Is You, minus like 4 lines. Fucking Something Better, I had written most of that fucking song before we ever started it.
yeah,
Who We Are was the only thing. But then again, we had a writer's block, and I had to leave.
yeah.
And I had to go to work, and I wrote the rest of it at work. What could be worse? I couldn't be in the room with anybody. I had to go be by myself and write all the lyrics. Like, that's just the way I work, bro. I'm not a group guy. I don't need a bunch of people, you know, no offense, even to you. I don't want anyone in the room when I write. I just want to be by myself. I need to be in my thoughts, and we can solicit the song. Like I said, we'll try it, but like, don't be surprised if I'm like, this ain't working. Like, y'all need to go away and let me be with myself. Like, it's a thing. It's a thing. I don't know, man. It's just something.
Keep pushing them.
I just have this desire to just see what
You just
happens.
want to fuck with me, Tyler. You
I
wanna
just
mess with
want
me.
to see what the fuck happens, because listen, man, I know you're good at what you do, and you know, the longer that we are like a group, the chemistry builds, and we all kind of understand our strengths,
Yeah.
our weaknesses. And I just think
it's
it
like-
would be something just,
It's like
just,
Matt said. Remember when he was on our podcast and they were talking about the Feel Again Stay?
Yeah.
They didn't write the chorus till Justin left the room.
Yeah.
Justin left because they were all trying to figure out what to do with the chorus. Where's it going? Like, how's the music being thing? And then Justin left the room to go do something and then came back and they were like, we got it.
Yeah.
And he was like, holy fuck. Yeah, so like, I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm sure there's an existence. I don't know. I'm sure there's a reality where, something happens and it's lightning in a bottle and we make something great and, maybe it's not just me in my fucking brain. I know that. But all I'm saying is it's uncomfortable for me.
Right. And I'm not saying
feel
like
weird
the
about
things that you're coming up with on your own are, I'm not saying that they're
No, I don't take it personally.
right.
I know that.
I'm just genuinely curious what would happen
yeah.
if
Maybe
we
the
tried
sun
that.
explodes. I don't know. The sun will blow up. Just kidding.
It's just
It's something I'm totally fine with trying.
cool.
But I'm not gonna overanalyze or underanalyze it. I'm just gonna be like, we're doing the thing. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
And sometimes some cool stuff happens.
Yeah.
But
Well, there was a song that was writing in the van on the way to Dallas. That was pretty cool.
yeah, but I mean, that was 98% me, bro. I mean, I was kind of in my own head with that one.
But you had some input from
Yeah, kind of.
some
Maybe a
people
little bit.
in peeps in the back.
Yeah, but I only used what Tom said.
Hmm?
The only input that I actually humored was the cool thing that Tom did when he went. But that was it. Other than that,
That sounded good.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
It was just that.
But other than that, I was
Good job, Tom.
It's Tom going.
he did it with the guitar. He did it with the guitar. But other than that, I pretty much just sat there in my own little space because I needed to kill 7 hours.
That was a trip.
Oh yeah, I didn't. It felt like nothing to me because I was in Pro Tools the whole time.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah,
Yep.
we got this banging song too. It's not done, but
It's banging.
it is banging. It's big too. It's big rock song. It's cool.
Before we close this thing out,
Sure.
did we miss anything for episode 1?
What's your blood type? No. Sorry. What's your sign?
We're missing the sponsorship for the Better Back.
We are. That's
This
what we're
thing
missing.
is great, dude.
I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
I'm wearing it.
I want to cancel your Funko Pop and ship you a better bag. But I'm not going to do that.
I really want the Funko Pop. That's super
Dude, I
cool.
can't believe you got me a
know.
Funko Pop of me.
So cool.
Well, I wanted to do something. I wanted to give you a big thank you for showing up tonight.
Well, thank you for having us, man.
You're welcome.
You're really good at what you do.
I appreciate it.
You're very good at
This is great.
talking, and your questions are intense, and I love that. I love that art on your wall, by the way. What the fuck is that?
That's from Goodwill.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Goodwill's got it going on.
Were you expecting some
No,
crazy artist
I need
story?
a reaction to some different art before I close with what I'm going to close with. Give me
Okay.
5 seconds.
Uh-oh.
I'm intrigued now.
The man's going somewhere.
Dum, 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 dum. Oh, we got a canvas.
Oh, no way. What is this going to be? Holy moly! Are those filters?
You
That-
got this on a canvas?
Can I show this?
Yes.
The fact that you put this on a canvas.
Holy shit, that's funny.
So,
That's the best one. Dude, that's fucking horrifying. That's scary. This kid looks sad. So, is it funny because they were all unassuming?
I don't know what that means.
Like, did they not know what was,
What was
happening?
happening?
Were you just like, smile?
Little do you know, you're gonna be printed on.
So the story behind this was I probably took all these pictures circa 2015.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then in 2020, me and my sister were just scrolling through pictures during the pandemic. We were hanging out, we were bored, and we were like, oh, this is full of pictures. And we found this collage of Snapchat filters, and she was like, I don't know what you should do with this, but you should do something. So for Christmas 2021, I put this together, and I printed one for every family member, or every family household.
Yep.
And I...
It gets funnier every fucking time I look at it.
It's good that this is
gotta get it
your
away from
family
me.
because I thought you also got this at
Ironically, I'm the only family member that hung it.
Dude, I'm not even fucking with
I'm
you.
proud of this. This is going on the wall.
I have a picture of Steppenwolf from Zack Snyder's Justice League in a frame in my living room.
Oh, here comes the Justice League. We said it was coming.
Also, when my girlfriend calls me,
You snorted! Oh my god!
It's coming. We called it.
wait, when my girlfriend calls me, her contact photo is Steppenwolf. She's always been.
Wait, who's that?
It's the character from Zack Snyder's Justice League.
What's its name?
Steppenwolf. He's a villain.
Can I see that picture one more time?
Prepare for the great darkness. I will bathe.
Sarah!
Sarah.
Oh my god.
He's just like. I like zoomed it in perfectly. I spent like 5 minutes on the crop because I was like, it has to be the right angle.
You know what's funny is you guys are like probably episode like 68.
You're crying.
I'm getting close.
You guys are probably like episode 68, give or take. And almost every guest has used the bathroom, and no one has ever said a thing about that picture.
That was in the bathroom?
It's in the bathroom.
I didn't even notice.
It's in the hallway. So
Oh,
as
okay.
you're walking down this hallway, it's on that wall.
Understood. Okay.
Dude.
You guys didn't notice it?
I didn't,
I
notice.
didn't look.
Oh, I guess
I just saw
maybe-
bathroom.
I'm just kind of like tunnel vision.
Maybe
Yeah,
I
I
was
don't
just so
look around.
focused on peeing that they.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
That's true. Oh my god. That's fantastic.
That was the perfect way to almost end this.
Oh,
I wanted to
yes.
read something to you guys.
Please. Sure.
3 somethings. I was wandering around your YouTube channel,
Yes.
and there were some very interesting comments that were left.
Okay.
One of them was from Illuminate Love 36. I hope you all realize how many lives and hurting hearts you've saved through your music. One was from Carrie Jordan 4930. I've been clean and sober for 16 years and 5 days now. My husband, soulmate, passed away. Our deep friendship started when we were only 4 years old when he stole my new bike. He has been there for me through every bad thing in life, being shot twice, gang raped, being a battered child. Your music and lyrics helped me through his passing and got me out of my dark space, which was threatening my sobriety. So thank you and bless you all. And the last one is from Junior Justin Suter, 1907. I found you guys yesterday, posted on You're Not Alone, purchased your EP last night, slowly being overwhelmed and touched by your music, fellas. This doco is an epic touch that I want. I'm going to assume you said want. The full album is going to be very touching experience, and you guys are so sincere in that you will shine in your music. Don't ever stop. You guys have the perfect recipe to create an impact on your audience. All the best from Australia. And the comments just keep going and going and going. And so I just wanted to end this on a note to tell you guys, please keep going. You know, whether it's music, film, whatever it may be. Even your music, I think part of what brought me into it is a lot of memories came back of when I was coming out of the closet and when I was much less confident than when I am now. And you guys just connect with people on a level that I don't think a lot of music does. And what you're doing is very special, and it's I think it could be shifting people's own thought processes. They're dealing with their own depression, anxiety, sobriety, grieving, all of that good stuff. So, on those days when you guys are wondering, are we wasting our time? What are we fucking doing? Like, and you're doubting yourself, revert back to all these people whose lives you're touching and know that we need you to keep doing what you're doing.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Dude.
We definitely have those days of like,
Yeah.
oh man, how do we keep going? And then we always come back to the fans. And
Dude, I mean, I've spent the past 4 to 5, 6 years or whatever it is, reading these comments, and now we're on the road, and they're not just comments, they're things that are people, there are things that people are coming up to us and saying to our face, and that it's crazy awesome and so humbling, and like
can hug them.
the connection that we have with people is something it's unlike anything I ever thought would happen. And yeah, man, it's so intense. And I don't even know how to put it into words. All I can say is, to answer what you were saying, I can't stop doing this because I'm not good at anything else. I've never been good at anything else, and I will never, ever stop making music, and I will never, ever stop loving art and wanting to connect with people around the entire world, and I can't wait to play every single fucking country and every city in it. And I can't wait to meet every single person at those shows, take as many pictures as I can, talk to people, make friends, and connect with everybody. It's the only thing I ever wanted to do. So yeah, that's all I can say about it.
Cheers to that.
I was gonna say, what about you, Tyler? Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, just being able to meet these people finally after. Yeah, we're always isolated in like our little bedroom studio, and it's hard to see the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and so being able to finally be out on the road and building our team that is working so hard behind the scenes as well, for us to be able to do this, is it's humbling, and it's an honor for sure.
Yeah.
To be here. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for inviting us onto your podcast and letting us share at least where he came from, and we'll definitely be back and do the other half.
And maybe one day we could do just like a fun one with like the whole band or something,
Yeah.
where
That'd
there's
be
no
cool.
topic, no questions.
Sure.
We can just shoot the shit, throw back some drinks, have fun.
Yeah, man.
They would love that.
Yeah. Cool.
And thank you to all of our fans, seriously. I've become friends, like close friends with a lot of our fans, and I'm
Adam
just
being one of them.
yeah,
Shout
Adam
out
and Gina and
Gina and
Dave
Dave,
and Karina,
Gene,
and
Buffalo
and
Gene.
Buffalo Gene.
and oh my God, I don't want to forget anybody, and Kat and Casey and Julius and Wilma and Wanda. And oh my gosh, so many people, so many Ulysses, and oh my God, I don't want to forget nobody. If I did, I'm not doing it on purpose. All right, I love all of our fans so much for I said this on stage a couple of times, and I really mean it when I say, I know you hear bands say this stuff all the time, but this is the truth. It is the truth, and I'll say it one more time on this podcast, which has been an absolute pleasure to be on. Without the people, like everybody who listens to our stuff and comments and supports and becomes a part of the TBV family, without all of you guys, the truth is this: we would not be here today. We would not be on the road. We would not have this amazing group of people on our side, this amazing team, these friends we're making along the way. We would literally not be here. So thank you for making for allowing us to live our dream and continuing to allow us to do it every single day. We are in debt. We are indebted to all of you guys, and we love you so much, and we will give back as much as we can by giving you 200,000 and billion% at those concerts every single time we play them. No matter how many of you guys come, we will give you the best fucking show that we possibly can. We love you guys, and we will keep making music and keep making albums. You guys mean the world to us. Thank you so much.
With that being said, go check out their new album, Ordinary Love. It's on Spotify. It's on YouTube. Subscribe to their YouTube channel. Support them, you guys. And if you haven't listened to their music yet, you're going to love it. So go check it out. In the meantime, stay healthy, stay happy, and we'll see you guys next Saturday night. Bye, everyone.